Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest installment in The Incredible Adventures of the Unsinkable Alice Baker, Book 5, Inside Insights, Chapter 1, The Waiting Game. It is the 2nd of January, 1931. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you are sitting in St. John's Hospital in a room with one bed and one occupant in that bed, and that person is Dottie, who has been diagnosed with encephalitis, and she has a high fever. She's currently unconscious. You've already met Mr. and Mrs. Williams, who were at the bedside and then had to leave to look after the rest of the family. You have introduced yourself as Alice Williams to pretend that you are her sister, because you were told basically no visitors, and especially no visitors who are not relatives. You woke up at 1:15 on the 1st of January, and you found her in a semi-conscious state in bed. Then you called your GP. When he arrived, she was already unconscious. He admitted her to hospital. Since then, you have barely left her side. You have invited Sinead to see, is there anything spooky going on? You've also made the acquaintance of Dr. Grace Tyrrell, who is the specialist for infectious diseases at St. Joseph's, who is basically treating her, or trying to treat her, but she's already told you that chances are she will never get out of this again, because she invited Dr. Simon McMahon, who's a neurologist also at St. Joseph's Private Hospital, and he checked her over, and she doesn't have any reflexes anymore. Her pupils are completely dilated. No reaction to light, no reflexes in the arms, no reflexes in the knees, which usually spells out brain damage. You have been awake for, well, essentially 15 hours straight. You haven't eaten. You have been able to get some water every so often, but this is an old-fashioned, it's a private hospital, but there is no cafeteria. Also, you're not supposed to be there. You have still broken ribs. First of all, you lose 1 hit point because you have been sitting there walking around all day on your also still destroyed knee, more or less, and you had to put on bandages because your ribs weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. You are now feeling it, and you can now make a roll, and please roll a D100 for me.
That's a 7.
Okay, that's a really good roll.
The pretty dice, the ones that are pretty dice, and now all of them are pretty, not to be mean, but it's the happy looking one.
Okay, so you're sitting there with Dottie. What are you doing?
Holding her hand and probably talking about stupidities. Just talking in a very low and calm voice because I don't want to disturb anyone outside. And just talking about the weather and the plans that we had, and that we maybe should make a vacation on the seaside, maybe, but another seaside than where we've been, although by now it should be a safe place. Just rambling on like that, and just it's a mix between having the hope that she can hear and that this is like an anchor point for her, and be also for herself that she literally stays awake. Because if she would just be sitting there without saying anything, she's afraid of falling asleep.
Okay. So you keep this up for an hour. Please roll another D100 for me.
Let's try the same. 42.
Very good. It comes up to 6 o'clock. You hear the bell on the church. The door opens and in walk 2 nurses. One of them turns to you. She kneels down so that she's level with your eye line, and she says, Miss Williams, we now need to bathe the patient, and we would ask you for some privacy.
The nurses, did I see them before?
No, this seems to be the morning shift.
Okay.
They're quite young. I mean, like maybe in their early 20s.
I will wait outside and I will just pat Dottie's hand and, well, they will get you cleaned up and then I will be back.
Okay.
And then she will go slowly outside and look for a place to sit or to stand.
Okay, so there are some chairs.
Although honestly, probably she would go outside and take a smoke.
Okay, so you go downstairs. Three
Some
flights
fresh,
of stairs
some fresh
outside.
air, and lighting a cigarette.
Okay, you light a cigarette. Please roll the D100 for me.
That's a 26.
Very good. How much time do you give them?
Probably like 20 minutes to half an hour. I think after 20 minutes she would go at least upstairs and would maybe carefully peek inside.
The door is closed, so you open the door.
Yeah, just carefully, just a tiny bit to see what I see.
Okay, so what you see is two nurses.
Mm.
They are basically washing her. They're combing her hair. She's at the moment not clothed, obviously, so they've taken off the shift that she was wearing. They've removed the drip so that they can actually get to the hands as well without doing damage with the needle. And one of them looks up and she says, "May I ask you to wait outside, Miss Williams, please?" And then she looks at you and she says, "Maybe you should try and get some rest. You look very tired and worn out."
Well, I will rest when she is back on her feet. Thank you, but I will leave you your space. And she will go back out. And we'll just close the door. She never went in, but she will close the door again. And then she will just lean against the wall next to the door, waiting.
About another 20 minutes or so later, the door opens and the two nurses file out and close the door. Do you go back inside?
Yeah. I would probably whisper like a thank you to the nurses, and then we'll slowly go back inside, close the door behind me, and walk over to Dottie.
Dottie's still, her eyes are wide open, and they used to be wide open. What they have now done is they've actually taped them shut. So and you can now please make a sanity roll, -20.
Oh god, -20. That is a success. I rolled a 23, so even
Very good, you
minus
lose
20.
3 sanity.
Ooh. 1, 2, 3.
They have updated the fever chart. Do you take a look?
Yes.
It's gone up. What do you do?
Probably sitting back down next to Dottie, holding her hand, and just... Dottie, I need some kind of sign. What is happening? This can't be normal or good. There is a way how I can help you to come back.
Roll a D100 for me, please.
That is a 90.
Okay, so you sit there, you talk to her, there is no response, like there hasn't been.
Yeah.
But now it's really getting to you and you do fall asleep.
Okay.
The next thing you know is you hear voices outside. The door opens and in step Mrs. Williams and a nurse. And the nurse says, strictly just no visitors, but in your case, we're making an exception, I've been told, but just really the one visitor only. And she looks at you very sternly. And she says, Miss Williams, if I may ask you to leave so that your mother can be with your sister.
She will probably stretch it a little bit and get up and make space for Miss Williams. No real change so far. How long can you stay with her?
Well, I will be staying all day today, but as of tomorrow, both Patty and I have to be back at work, so we will not be able to come by a lot. We also need to look after the children.
No problem. I will be here. So then I will just go back home for a tiny nap and maybe to get some fresh clothing, and then I will be back.
She nods and she sits down next to Dottie.
I will take a last look at Dottie, knowing that her mother cares for her and is at least someone important is by her side. I think that's for Alice at the moment is the most important. And then she will go downstairs and see if she can get a cab to get back home.
You can get a cab, it's not a problem.
And then she would go back home.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you lose 5 more sanity.
5 more.
Mm-hmm. You now have a temporary insanity simply because now you are out of this situation and you have also put physical distance between you, although obviously probably not emotional distance. So I want to leave it up to you how this mechanical temporary insanity manifests itself in Alice. How does that, what is her mental reaction to the whole situation?
I think in her mind, this is not a normal cause. She's getting quite obsessed with the idea that someone, I don't know, the demon, or whatever, anything evil, ghosty thingy, whatever she read or encountered, someone of them is responsible for that. And she is focusing on this because, generally on medical problems, she can't do anything. She can pay doctors, that's it. Mm-hmm. And this would lead to she would go back home. She would probably just quickly wash and dress in something else, and then she would take a notebook and a pen and would go upstairs to Dottie's room and would just sit in a chair in her room and would start just scribbling down notes on all the weird creatures and people we met along the way, just making notes on and then striking down, no, dead, probably not the one, and just going on, or not there. And that would be her quite manically just scribbling down and finding more ideas who and what it could be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's like a manic obsession with the supernatural as the cause for this. Okay, well, that's a perfect insanity, isn't it?
It is, and with all that happened in the last, I think that is something, because Alice had the feeling that is something she can weirdly enough solve, although it's supernatural. Mm-hmm. And actually she wanted to go home for some rest, but I'm not sure if she will be able to at least give herself a few minutes of really sleeping.
You definitely feel that you need to eat. Your blood sugar levels are terribly low. You can feel this already. You are getting more and more restless as well, and it's getting to the point where you're so hungry that you're getting sick, that you feel sick to your stomach.
I will grab a notebook and a pen and we'll go downstairs into the kitchen and we'll just make myself a sandwich. And a coffee, quite sure, because she's insane. And we'll drink some coffee to stay awake, because she needs to work on the list on what it could be and to exclude who it could not be. And next to it, just start munching on a sandwich.
Okay. So it's round about 8 o'clock in the morning now. How long are you going to keep this up for? Well, let's say 9 o'clock. Probably the mother showed up at around 6:30, 7. So you basically then took a cab back, you washed, you dressed, you changed. And so I would say it's 9 o'clock now.
I think she would sit in the kitchen probably for at least another 2 hours. probably in between you can see some paper just fold up, thrown into the corner, and just go on scribbling. And around noon, she would call a cab to go back to the hospital.
You go back to the hospital. You go to her room, or do you want to speak to the doctor? Because you know that Dr. Grace Tyrrell would now be back.
She would look for the doctor first. So
you find her in her office.
I would knock at the door and just peek my head in.
Well, 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 Miss Baker. I know who you are.
Any news on Dottie? It does not seem that she's better.
Would you please close the door?
Alice will step inside and close the door behind her.
Please take a seat.
And we'll take a seat.
You lied to me about your personal.
Well, Dottie is like my sister, so I did not really lie.
I will let this go. I will not divulge this information to anyone else.
Thank you.
Her mother is with her at the moment. There is no change in the patient.
And her mother will have always the right first to be there. But as soon as she has to leave, I will be back next to her. Do you have any ideas what we can do? Money is not the problem. So if there are other doctors or medicines or anything we can do.
I told you, we've got a couple of days. And then if she doesn't improve, we will have to move her. This is an intensive care unit. We cannot provide for her here. Yeah. She needs long-term care.
Well, then thank you for your help and for your support. I will go for a walk around the block and come back a bit later to switch places with Miss Williams.
Miss Baker, for what it's worth, I'm terribly sorry.
It's not your fault. Thank you for trying to save her.
At the moment, she's in God's hands.
God's hands. Well, let's hope God knows how dedicated she is to him.
Let's hope. So you walk outside?
I would walk outside and would go downstairs, put on a cigarette again, and take a walk around the block, basically. Just walking through the streets, not getting too far away from the hospital, but killing a bit more time, because Miss Williams said she will be there for like the whole day, so Alice assumes she will leave around evening when she has to go back to the family. That would be her estimate.
Well, you've got a long walk ahead of you because it's now about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
She will just take the walk, and I honestly... How far away is the hospital from where...
Where you live, you mean? You can make this up. I mean, it's a taxi ride which took probably around 20-25 minutes. It wasn't around the corner, but it wasn't too far away either.
I think she would walk for around an hour, just through the streets, smoking too much. And then she would call a cab, and she would ask the cab to go towards the church where Alice knows that Dottie is regularly going to.
Okay, you can do that, yes.
And I think for a few minutes she would just stand in front of the church, just staring at it, quite unsure why on earth she thinks it's a good idea to come here. And then she would look if basically church is open and she's able to. The
church is open, yes.
Because sometimes it's closed, but regularly normally. So she would carefully step inside, just taking in what she sees, because she hasn't been in that church before. And would just sit down on one of the, I don't know, do you even call them benches in English in
I
church?
think you call them pews.
Or
because-
pews.
Yeah.
And just sit down.
So it's a Catholic church, obviously. So there is the cult of the Virgin is very strong in Ireland. So they've also got back then they didn't yes, they had Knock Shrine already, I think. Yeah. So it's a very important part of the Irish Catholic faith. So obviously the Holy Mother takes pride of place. She has an altar as well to the side, and you can also see that people have lit candles there, so you can basically get those tea lights, and you pay, I don't know, 5 cents or whatever, and you just light one. And of course there is with regard to 2nd of that would be San Sylvester was yesterday, so we're coming up to the 3 Magi. So obviously they would be preparing for the 6th of
the second
January.
itself shouldn't be a special day.
happening.
So it's
But there are flowers on the altar, and you can now make a luck roll. Oh, by the way, have you restored your luck? Did we do that the last time?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
successfully, but
you tried.
We tried. I think I got 1 luck back or something like that. But wow, I rolled an 11, which is definitely lower than my luck of 19.
Okay, so you get to make a choice.
Yeah.
Because you are lucky. Do you want to meet the parish priest, or don't you want to meet the parish priest? It's up to you.
She wouldn't be here to talk to a priest. So I think her luck would be rather that she's just they are leaving her alone. She can just be there and just sit there and think. So she would definitely burn a candle. And just in her mind be like, I have no idea how to talk to you, but it seems like you are some kind of around here, and you should know Dottie. She definitely needs your help, sir. Ma'am? Please? And then she would just sit down, as I said, somewhere in the corner, and would... since she can't talk actively loudly with someone, just in her mind, having a talk with whoever is out there, maybe listening in or not, and just asking for supporting Dottie, and just counting on all the good things that Dottie is doing, and that she's a good person, and that she doesn't deserve that, and also family doesn't deserve that. And I know we've been through a lot, but that's not her fault, it's my fault. And just talking and hoping, because when all the other crazy things are there, maybe there is a God, although Alice is not peculiarly believing in that, but it can't hurt.
Because you know that Dottie, of course,
and Dottie believes in it. So it's like it's not hurting Alice, and it's kind of on the point we can use every help we can get. And I think she would stay there around an hour, so she would stay quite long.
It is very quiet, because at this time of day, 2nd of January, nobody goes to church usually. It is very cold as well. Churches are cold. Does the cold bother you?
No. That's at least nothing she really pays attention to.
Yeah. Okay. So you spend an hour in contemplation, and after that you leave the church. You don't see a single person. There is no one there.
I think she would walk towards a direction where she knows that there's at least a chance that a cab is there.
Yes, you will find a cab.
So towards some kind of main street. She would also look for like a kiosk or bakery or anything that would sell like sandwiches or anything small that you can have on the go.
Yeah, there are several delicatessen.
Then she would see like she could get 2 sandwiches, singular packed, and then she would go back to the hospital because she would give Miss Williams the goal is 1 because she has been there then also for quite a while without food. And she would go back to the hospital and walk upstairs and would knock and peek into Dottie's room.
Her mother is sitting there. Give me a spot hidden. Oh no, a psychology roll, please.
Oh god, psychology. 33, that's a success.
Okay. You know that for Dottie, family is all important.
Yeah.
Looking at her mother, what would you expect her mother to do sitting there? How would you expect her mother to be behaving?
I would suppose she would be there sitting and praying. Maybe crying a little as well. I think Miss Williams is a tough lady and you don't want to start a fight with her, but that is something that is breaking her heart, I would suspect. So not loudly sobbing and crying, but
Yeah.
with a few tears, just being teary and just praying.
You are not wrong. She has not been crying. You can see no sign of that. But she has this stony face of someone who has almost resigned herself to a fate that isn't a good one. And she's just sitting there like a block of, like a statue, more or less. It's like a chiseled face. She's not moving at all. She's not moving a muscle. She's just staring at this person lying there. It's almost, you have a feeling, of course you know that she knows who's lying there, but it's almost like she's looking at someone she doesn't know, if that makes sense.
Well, it's self-protection in a way,
Yeah.
that she's pulling back because she needs to function. There's the rest of the family. So I think Alice would just carefully tap on her shoulder.
She looks at you.
Do you
want
want
Miss Baker?
Like at least a 5-minute break and eat something? She would hold up the sandwich and get a drink.
What time is it?
Alice will pull out her pock watch because she is fancy, she has that, and would give her the time, which would be by now early afternoon, I would guess.
Yeah, probably around 3 or so.
2, 3, yeah, around 3 o'clock.
Thank you. Yes, I will. You will stay with her?
Yes, sure. Here a sandwich just because you haven't eaten in a bit, and just ask the nurses for some water. Water is easy too. Just come by, just ask them.
Thank you. She steps outside. Of course, between you and her is a big divide because you are
I'm
royalty. She is peasantry. You are the employer of her daughter.
Yeah.
So there is this very big divide between the two of you. So you sit down next to Dottie.
She will take Dottie's hand just as a reflex, and will just sit there.
Would you please roll a D100 for me?
Oh, good. I'm not sure I want to. That is a 2.
Okay. You take her hand, and just for a split second, you have a feeling that she's taking your hand as well. But you're not sure if this is you imagining things or if this is a genuine reaction.
She started to speak, but in the second just stopped. Just gasping probably. And then switching what she wanted to say. So, I know you are still there. I'm not giving up on you. We've gone to weird things. We will get through this as well. I will get you out of there. I just need to figure out what is happening here and what to do. Just hold on, don't leave. And then Alice would take a deep breath. Also, your church is a beautiful place. I hope your God was not offended by me being there asking for his support. We will find a way. And one thing that Alice would do, because her mind went through all the weird things happening, she would just be curious and she would pull out her hand mirror, like a small pocket mirror that you can open if you want to refresh makeup, and would just put it next to Dottie. Because we had weird things with mirrors happening, she's now, bit by bit, will try weirdish things. She knows she can't draw a circle around the bed and do crazy. That will not work, but at least the small things. So she will put the mirror next to Dottie and will just peek inside. She will put it in an angle that Dottie, at least a bit of Dottie is in, but she can also look inside.
Yeah.
And expecting that it's just the way it should look, but maybe hoping a bit that it's different or something else is there.
You see what you would expect to see in that reflection.
Yeah.
And then basically sit there for about 20 minutes. Yeah. So Mrs. Williams is taking a break. She comes back. The door opens. She comes back and she says, "Miss Baker, thank you so much I will get the money to you, obviously, for the sandwich."
You don't have to, really.
I insist.
When she's back on her feet, we will just organize something. That is not a problem. Alice also will quickly get up and make space for Miss Williams. She will also grab her mirror and put it back in her pocket. And do you have a rough time when you have to be back with the rest of the family?
Well, I will have to leave at 5 at the latest.
Okay. I will be then here too.
At that moment, the door opens and in walks Dr. Tyrrell plus 2 nurses. And basically she looks at the charts. She removes the tapes from Dottie's eyes so the eyes snap open. And she does the usual thing. She feels the pulse. She checks the reflexes. She checks the reaction of the eyes. She makes a note. Very disinterested. So obviously this is a patient. There is no emotion for her involved here. And then she looks at the drip and she says, "We will." She then takes a very close look at Dottie and she watches her intently for more than 5 minutes, just the face. And then she says, "We will not be needing any pain medication. The patient is not in pain." To the nurses, she doesn't talk to you at all.
Alice is frozen basically behind Miss Williams, and I guess both of us are just staring and listening.
And then she says, and then she turns to the two of you and she says, "At 5 o'clock, we will be looking after the patient. I would like to ask you to step outside for an hour to give us some privacy. Okay. You can then come back."
Then, just leaning into Miss Williams, then you stay here as long as you can, and afterwards I will take over as usual.
She nods to you and then just resumes staring at her daughter. The 3 of them file out and you can hear your door close because you follow them, and then they go to the next room. So it seems to be like they're doing the rounds. So 5 o'clock approaches. 2 nurses come in. It's a different set of 2 nurses than in the morning. Mrs. Williams leaves the room. She looks at you and she says,
"As soon as anything happens, I will make sure to give note to you."
"I don't know when we will be able to come back. I will let you.
Come
It
by
won't be. It won't be during the day anyway.
Come by whenever it fits for you. If not, I will keep you definitely up to date what happens.
Maybe you should also get some rest.
I just slept a bit. It's fine. I can go well with coffee and without sleep. Giving her a
looks at you.
brighter smile.
And she nods and she walks away very quickly. She's not a tall person, but she seems to have a lot of energy because she walks really quickly. And then the nurses step outside again. It does take them almost an hour.
Alice will just lean against the wall outside.
So when they step outside, what you see, what they have done is they actually have changed Dottie's clothes, so they take away the shift. They have also taken away the duvet covers and everything, so they've basically changed the bed. They've readjusted the drip, you can see, because it's now in her other arm, so they've moved the stand. And then you go inside.
Yep.
They've updated the fever chart.
I will wait, obviously, until they leave to look at the fever chart, but Alice is looking at it and kind of expecting that it's at least the same or even higher. Although you can't go much higher to a certain point.
Was it 18?
19.
Okay, it's gone down a little.
Alice would sit down and take Dottie's hand again. I would just sit there and in low voice would be like, I'm back again. Switched with your mother. Your mother had to go back to the rest of the family. She will be back whenever she can.
So you sit there. Keep talking.
She keep talking and will in between always ask Dottie to any kind of sign or hint.
After about 3 hours, around about 9 o'clock, you're still holding her hand. You feel that she's beginning to sweat profusely. So her hand is getting really wet. You can see that she's got beads of sweat on her face. It's streaming down.
She would jump. I'm not sure. During that time, I'm quite sure there's nothing like push a button and someone will come. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I mean...
If not, she would just, it's not that far away, go to the doorway and just call into the hallway, would call for a nurse.
A nurse does show up. You remember her from last night, and she says, she calls you Miss Williams. Miss Williams, what's wrong?
She's behaving a bit differently. She's sweating a lot. Would you just mind to check if everything is okay?
Oh, she's sweating a lot. She goes inside and she goes to Dottie immediately. She puts her hand on her forehead. She puts her hands on her cheeks. She feels her pulse. And she says, I'll get the doctor. She walks out again. She doesn't run, but she walks quite quickly. In comes, a couple of minutes later, Dr. Tyrrell. And she goes straight to Dottie. She ignores you completely. And she says, Miss Williams, would you mind stepping outside for a second? I will let you in as soon as possible, but I need to do some checkups and I don't want you to be there. I need to guard my patient's privacy.
Alice would just squeeze Dottie's hand for one more. And I'm just outside here. And would then slowly go outside and close the door behind her.
It takes about 5 to 6 minutes. The door opens and Dr. Tyrrell steps outside. She says, can I see you in my office, please? Miss Williams?
Sure. Alice will either follow her or walk to the office, yeah.
She opens the door. She lets you step inside first. Then she closes the door. She says, please take a seat.
I will sit down.
There is a change.
I know.
It's what we call a critical drop in body temperature. Now, don't let the critical upset you. There are different types of fevers when they come down, critical and lytical. What we're seeing here is a critical one. Sounds dramatic, but it's actually a good thing. I'm not sure what has precipitated this. It could be that the body has managed to fight off the infection. Her temperature has dropped by 2 degrees centigrade within the space of 20 minutes.
She's stubborn and is fighting, as it seems.
At that, she actually smiles. She's Irish.
Oh, yes.
So the good news is the temperature has dropped to 39.3 degrees.
That is good.
That is very good. However, of course, a drop in temperature of that magnitude does take its toll on the system. She is still unconscious, but this is a very good sign, but I don't want to get your hopes up too much. But it is, I promised you I was going to tell you everything, and this is what I'm telling you now. This is good. Because the fever would eventually have killed her if it hadn't calmed down.
I know. We know, we don't know when and if she'll open her eyes and be back in what condition. But at least a movement in this direction, as you say, is a good thing. And, well, we will stay by her side. Give her strength, hopefully. And see her stubbornness fight her way through this.
She leans back and she crosses her arms and she says, speaking of stubborn, how much have you slept since you first brought her in?
Alice would be like a few minutes here, I think 5 minutes there, like 1, 2, a few hours. It's okay. I had enough coffee and movement and fresh air and something to eat, and I'm drinking enough water because your nurses are nice enough to give me access to regular water when I need some.
Ms. Baker, I may specialize in infectious diseases, but I'm also a normal physician.
I can sleep when she's back on her feet.
And I don't think that anything I can say will dissuade you.
I'm not Irish, but I'm just as stubborn as the young lady over there. But thank you for looking out for me as well.
Yes, I am a doctor. You can go to her now.
Thank you. Alice will stand up, probably a bit like during, especially standing up, sitting down must be a movement which is not fun for Alice, so she will just like bite her way through it. And then we'll turn around, leave the office, probably while opening the door, just turn around, thank you again for all you're doing, and then closing the door behind her and going over to Dottie's room and just taking her place next to Dottie.
They have changed the sheets again because obviously she must have soaked them through. She is still sweating, but not as badly. Or well, not as strongly, I should say.
Alice would have asked then the nurses, as soon as she sees that, if she could have like a piece of cloth and some water that just in between she can just at least wipe Dottie's face and just put a cooling cloth on her forehead.
They provide this, and they also provide a carafe and a glass of water, and a carafe of water and a glass.
Oh, Alice will thank them, and then she will sit next to Dottie and just be like, well, that is a good girl. Whatever you're doing, it's the right thing. Go on. I'm sorry I can't really help expect being here and believing in you. Your mother will be really angry if you give up like this, right? So move on. Move on, dear. Just patting her hand and then just going back into the rumbles and ideas and what we all could do and the plans, and also probably if no one else is there, starting to also go through all her ideas. I'm thinking, who did that to you? And just going through everyone we met that is still around. The weird bird people thingies. In case you are seeing someone like that around you, wherever you are, it would be helpful if you would just push my hand or squeeze my hand. And then she would wait if there's a reaction and then go on with the next idea.
And so basically, time passes. It's now past midnight. Please make a constitution check, minus 40.
Minus 40. Well, that is a big fail.
Okay.
Because I rolled a 94, so with
Okay, yeah.
minus 40 even.
Your eyelids begin to droop.
I probably just have my head on the corner of a bed, probably just next to her.
And you do fall asleep. There is it was just too much. And then you feel a hand touch you lightly on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Williams. Miss Williams.
It will take a second for Alice to get to her that it's her, because Miss Williams is not her name to react. Miss Williams is in... Yes?
And it's the same young nurse from yesterday morning. And she says, we're here to bathe the patient. Would you mind stepping out for... maybe go home and just get some rest?
How? Alice will pull out her watch, just looking at how late it is.
5 to 6 in the morning.
Ooh.
Must be the 3rd of January now.
I will just grab a breakfast and I will be back in a bit. Thank you. Alice will squeeze Dottie's hand and will just look at her and be a good girl. And then we'll leave the room and we'll go downstairs. First of all, another cigarette. Then taking a walk to a nearby bakery, because bakeries open early.
Yeah.
And would see if she can also grab somewhere a coffee. And maybe buy new cigarettes, because I'm quite sure cigarette stash is slowly...
Yeah, you've probably gone through a pack or two.
Through, and she would have grabbed also cash when she was back home, just stuffing some cash in her handbag.
Yeah. So, this, I would say, takes you at least an hour. You know, you have to find a bakery, blah, 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 and you do your shopping, you come back. It's now, I would say, probably 7:30. You go upstairs again.
I think one thing she would do before that, she would... Are there places where you can, like, kind of send... She would like to send a message to Miss Williams.
Post office telegrams?
Yeah, because it must be quick, so it would be telegrams, like, urgently, and would just give the small information. Dottie's fever dropped 2 degrees. At least a tiny good sign. Greetings, Alice. And would send it out with whatever it costs to deliver it as quickly as possible to the Williams family with the address.
I would just assume, okay, I mean,
There must
Sherlock
be
Holmes was in the
couriers
19th century,
yeah.
but he was always sending telegrams within London, so I'm pretty sure that in 1931...
Even nowadays, you
can
have
send
couriers
telegrams.
that send things around. Or
And back then, it would have been even easier because they would have used telegraphs, probably even within the city, to transmit it to the nearest post office.
If
and it
not,
would have been,
horse, piece of paper, go, might be also an option. And then she would return to the hospital.
You step inside.
Yeah.
You go to Dottie's room. It's empty, only Dottie is there.
Fine.
You take a look at the fever chart.
She would look around if someone else is there, and then yes, she would, as usual, peek and hope to see that it's at least not risen again, but that is
38.9.
Oh, tiny drop again. And then Alice would sit down, grab her hand as usual, and would just tell her, well, at least you would be proud of me. I just got breakfast. at 6 a.m. in the morning. Something is wrong with me. But, well, I think it did not hurt to have breakfast. Feeling a bit fresher and awake now. And you're doing better. So move on. Don't give up. It's still quite a way to walk. You can do it.
I roll terribly.
Well, that's not a problem. Alice will go on rambling, just holding her hand and just going back to her. There are others that might be the reason, and would start to go again. Maybe we got rid of all the ghosts, but maybe the ones in the mirror, maybe there's still someone lurking around being angry of what we did. Is it her? Is it her, Dottie? And would just again squeeze my hand. You know the procedure.
And as you ask her to squeeze your hand, she reacts. She squeezes your hand and she holds onto it. And it's not a cramp, it's actually somebody holding your hand.
Alice will give a slight squee, just surprised. So it's ghosts. Okay, ghosts. Jeanette said there were no ghosts here. We'll have to talk to her. But at the moment, just hold on. You know how to fight them. You're not afraid of ghosts. We know how to get rid of them.
You hear Dottie's voice. Mom, is that you?
No, it's Alice, dear.
She still has her eyes taped shut.
I think Alice would very carefully just stand up. I know it will hurt. I'm sorry, but let me try something. And she would very carefully try to peel the tape off at least the left eye, just to start with. Very, very carefully. And just in between, I know it hurts. I'm sorry. They just wanted to help. And we'll try to peel the tape off and see if her eyes stay shut or if they open.
Her eyes open, but in a very controlled manner.
Then she will definitely carefully get rid of the other bandage or the tape as well. They needed to do that to keep your eyes from drying out. Can you hear me, Dottie?
Mum? No. Oh, Fiona, it's you. Fiona is one of her sisters. Why are you in my room?
Alice will just sit down and still, or we'll grab her hand again. We'll just sit down. It's time to sleep, dear. You need to rest.
I need to get up because I need to make breakfast for Miss Alice. And she starts...
The moment Alice would jump up and just hold her down, you need to sleep and rest. You are in the hospital, dear.
You don't understand. And Fiona, get your hands off me. You don't understand. Leave me alone. I need to work.
I think at that moment Alice would try to basically put Dottie's face in her hands, just looking straight into her face. Dottie, dear, you don't have to make breakfast for me. I just got breakfast. You have the task to sleep.
Okay, she tries to basically... It's almost like she's trying to hit Fiona, but she misses. Leave me alone!
I did not know you hate your sister like that. As I said, Dottie, sleep. If not, your mother has to come here and tell you to sleep. You don't want this. Lay down, relax, get better.
No, you can't tell Mum. I'm going to lose my job. I'm not doing my job. And what if I lose my job? I will never be able to look Mum in the eye again.
You will never.
I've only been here for a year.
We talked to Alice. She knows you will not lose your job. You are on sick leave. You need to get rest. Everything is cared for. Don't worry about it.
Make a
When you're
psychology roll.
better. That is. We'll spend 2 luck and have a success.
You see you're having an impact.
Mm-hmm.
She still probably thinks you're Fiona, but the fact that you're telling her that she's officially on sick leave and she's calming down and she says, listen, Fiona, she wants 2 slices of toast and plenty of coffee. Don't try to give her any more food. She will not eat it. You have to do this for me because if I lose this position, I have nothing. You need to ensure that Ms. Alice gets, otherwise her mother will be furious at me.
Alice will pat her hand and be, I will give the information and we will organize everything. Don't worry. Do you want maybe a sip of water? Just a little bit. And then try to get some sleep, dear. One of us will be around.
And you can see that she's very parched lips.
Yeah.
And she says,
Alice will fill in some water in her glass and will carefully, just a little bit, and will carefully try to give her just a tiny sip because she knows too much water in one will not go well. So just a tiny bit and maybe then another tiny bit.
She does drink.
Good. Now try to get some rest and more sleep. You know, sleep is helping.
You have to wake me for lunch. I have to be there in attendance for lunch.
No,
Fiona, you have to wake me for lunch. And she grabs your hand really tightly.
I'll pat her hand. You are on sick leave for the whole day, dear. Just relax and sleep. We have the whole day covered. Everything is organized. Alice is out for lunch and dinner the day. She's meeting with friends, so she's taken care of. You don't have to worry.
You have to talk to Mrs. Baker. You have to explain to her that this will never happen again. I will never be sick again.
She knows. As I said, all is approved and organized with her. She's fine. She's happy with all you do for her, so one day of sick leave is not hurting. She's not there anyhow. She's meeting with friends. And the house looks tip-top. I've seen it. There's not a spot of dust anywhere.
She is calming down, but she is holding on to your hand really tightly. She's not letting go.
Alice will just sit again on the chair next to her. Just, as I said, you need rest because then you're fresh to go back to work. But now sleep because, as I said, you have the whole day off. We will be around if there's anything you need. Just take the time to get your strength back because you must feel tired.
And you keep talking and you, at length, her grip relaxes and she starts to breathe really evenly.
I'll probably in between grab with the other hand the cloth and just some water again, just dab it and just carefully take care of her and just wait for her to calm and fall asleep.
And she does.
The moment she falls asleep, waiting a few more minutes, then carefully standing up, letting go of her, and I would tiptoe out of the room and look for a nurse.
You do find a nurse.
Miss Williams woke up. I don't know if you want to check on her. She just fell back asleep, but it seems like she's conscious again. I'm sorry, I took the tape off her eyes. She was struggling a bit with the weird thing that she could not open them.
Quite right. I will get the doctor.
Thank you.
So she goes away, and
Alice will wait in front of the door, basically, but outside.
This time round, she comes back with a neurologist, Dr. McMahon. And he says, I hear your sister has woken up.
Yeah, she's woken up. She's just not in her right mind. She is thinking she's much younger, and that I'm another sister, not me, but Fiona. And she's definitely time-wise in younger years back.
But she was talking to you?
She was talking and reacting to me, yeah. Although she did not really recognize that it's me. She was talking to me like I was Fiona, and I just went along with it and tried to calm her because she had the idea she had to go to work. Which I told her that she has a day off. Everything is organized. She doesn't have to worry.
Well,
And now she's fallen asleep again because I asked her to relax. I hope that was okay.
considering that you're not of the medical profession, I think you handled this really well. I will also take a look now, but I can tell you one thing. The fact that she was talking to you is an indication that the brain damage may be negligible. Usually speech is impaired first.
That is good.
I wouldn't worry myself too much about the fact that she may have mistaken you for her other sister. I'm pretty sure that there's a strong family resemblance, and she has been very ill. I would say that this is a good result.
At least she
Miss
knew
Williams.
that she is Dottie and she knew the family, which is a good thing.
I will take a look if you wouldn't mind waiting here. I will
No,
be
for
with
sure.
you shortly.
I will be back in like 10 minutes. I need
Oh,
to
yes, of course.
just step out
And
for a few minutes.
he goes inside and closes
She
the door. The
will
nurse goes with him.
Alice will basically, well, she can't really run, but it's a kind of running. She would see that she gets outside and again trying to get a message over to William's family.
Okay, so you send them a message.
And the message is she has woken up, she's speaking. She did not recognize me, but she knows who she is, and she knows you guys.
All right, so you
There's
send that
hope.
message.
If you can come by, try during the next hours.
You send this off.
Yeah.
You go back.
Yeah.
The doctor is actually waiting outside, and he says, Miss Williams, I have
Yes.
very good news. She is reacting to light. She has the reflexes back. She is very tired, but that is to be expected.
After this.
She doesn't recognize where she is. She is definitely a little bit out of time, as you indicated. She thought that I might be the parish priest. I just let that go. Father McNulty seems to be quite the character.
Well, he has always had a big impact on her life. I sent message to her mother and asked that maybe if she could make some time today to have a peek by. I think it would help if her mother's there.
Very good. If you need to speak to me, and he explains where his office is, it's 1 floor up, because that's infectious diseases, neurology is 1 floor up.
It might be that she will come by to just talk directly to you and want to hear your information from yourself. But thank you so much.
Don't worry about it. It might be good if you step inside and talk to your sister some more. She seems to be responding.
I will do so. Thank you. And Alice will go back inside, just seeing if she's awake or if she's sleeping again.
She's lying there and she has her eyes closed, but you don't think she's sleeping because she's not in that deep, shallow breathing.
Then I would just sit next to her, take carefully a hand. I'm back. Sorry, I left you for a while.
She opens her eyes and she says, Madam, where am I?
The hospital.
Why am I in hospital?
You were there still, but not as much sick. We were a bit worried about you. A bit is quite the understatement.
I was sick.
That's why you're in hospital. You had a very, very high fever and were unconscious for a while. But you're better now. You just have to rest and work on feeling better.
What's your mother going to say?
She doesn't know. Why should she?
I'm supposed to look after you. This is my job. I have not been able to look after you. She starts crying.
I will pet her hand. Well, the thing is we are looking after each other. And
She's going to make me leave.
She has to fight me. You will not leave. And honestly, she will never know. I don't care. She is not the one.
I'm on probation. She told me so. I've got 2 years to prove myself.
I know this will sound a bit weird. As I said, you were out for quite a while. Just get more rest and slowly you will remember. You are out of probation. You are safe and sound. You are not getting rid of me.
How am I out of probation? You only hired me last year.
Well, we shortened the probation quite a bit. As I said, you are fine. My mother doesn't need to know, and even so, it's not her decision. You are my employee, my right hand, my assistant, my friend. So you have the only task to get better and listen to the doctors. And don't hate me for calling your mother. It might be that she will peek in a while again. She is quite worried about you. And not because you're not at work, because you're in hospital. But she will be very happy that you're awake again.
It works. She subsides. She doesn't seem to be able to do much. She is exhausted. She's worn out. She looks actually a lot older than she is.
Just
and
get
she
rest.
looks very pale.
And as I said, don't worry about work. When you're back on your feet, the house is still there and I will not go anywhere. And mother is not a problem.
She falls asleep.
Good. Alice will take a relieved sigh, but will just sit there and will hold her hand, probably not saying anything, just sitting there and just maybe a tiny bit of thank you to whoever helped up there. And would just sit and wait.
Mm-hmm. About 2 hours pass. The door opens and in step Mr. and Mrs. Williams.
Alice will carefully get up because she doesn't really want to wake Dottie, and she will just motion that to her parents and would walk towards them and would just motion like, let's step outside so we can talk.
They crane their necks to look at their daughter, but they follow you outside.
I will just lean the door. I don't want to wake her up. She's sleeping again, but she's awake. The doctors are quite surprised because she can talk. All her reactions are good. If you want to talk to the doctor, Alice will describe where Dr. what was his name? McMahon is. And well, she remembers who she is. She is just stuck in a different year. I'm not sure if it will. He said it's not unusual for people who has been out like this it takes time for the brain to catch up again. So she thinks she's in year 1 of working for me. I just calmed her down that she doesn't have to worry about her job. At least she recognized me now and didn't say Fiona to me. But I think she's slowly getting everything together. I warned her that you might show up and that she doesn't have to worry, that no one is here to be angry at her.
Joseph, I'll speak to the doctor. You go inside and be with our daughter.
Should I show you the way, ma'am?
Yes, please.
And I will just lead the way. I will walk the directions, because by now at least halfway I have the idea where everything is here, and just show her the way towards the office of the doctor. and would probably just knock for her and see if she's there.
Come.
I'll just open the door for her. Miss Williams' mother, and would just let her step in.
Mrs. Williams,
would-
very good, very good. Do sit down. I assume your daughter has already filled you in on the details
And with
of your other daughter?
And with that, Alice would just close the door behind them, just let them have the talk, and she would probably wait outside.
About 20 minutes pass. She comes outside again. She comes out again. She says goodbye over her shoulder. He says goodbye, and she says, "Well, Miss Baker, I mean." She looks around, but there's nobody there, so she continues calling you Miss Baker. He says that the prognosis isn't too bad. We will have to have a transfer, though, because we cannot afford this. This is impossible.
As I said, it's part of her being part of my family as well. You don't have to worry about any kind of costs. The only thing that might come up to you when she feels better, it would be good if she gets some hearty, good food, because my cooking skills are not the best.
At that, she does give you a smile. It's a very wistful smile, but it is a smile nonetheless.
And, well, I'm blessed to have her in my life and watching out for me. Now I have the chance to pay her back. So let's go upstairs.
So you go to
I will go upstairs. I will let her go inside, and I will just probably go outside for a smoke.
You go outside for a smoke. And how long are you going to stay? Or do you wait for them to come out? Or what do you do?
I would be at the main entrance. So, yes, I would stay outside smoking until I can see them stepping outside. However long it takes. If not, she will smoke a lot.
It does take a good while.
Which is fine.
They come outside and they say she didn't wake up, but the nurse assured us that she was actually sleeping, not being unconscious. We both have to get back because Joe's on the night shift and I have to look after the children. I will. I'm not sure when I will come by tomorrow evening.
Is there any chance you can take a day off, even if I give you the payment for the missing day? Because I know money is not easy to have around.
The two of them look at each other.
Dottie would like to have at least one of you nearby tomorrow, I'm quite sure.
And then he says to her, Bridie, you should take that offer. Talk to the laundry. They can do one day without you.
They will understand, hopefully, that your daughter is in hospital.
And you can tell it's very hard for her.
It's hard for her. That's why Alice is like, it would be good for Dottie. And it doesn't hurt me.
Persuade.
Let's see.
But you get a plus 20 to that roll. So basically it's easier by 20.
That is a 29.
Oh, well, that sounds very good.
So with a plus, it's then a critical success. So
Okay. It's difficult for them, but they accept. Bridie accepts. Okay, so essentially she says, well, I will come back tomorrow morning.
Good. Perfect. I will keep Rest by her side. And then, as I said, I think it's good if she has one of you around.
So you go back up. It's
Go back
evening
up.
now. Somebody put a fruit basket in the room.
She will sit next to Dottie, just probably not even holding her hand, just be sitting there and taking a bit of water and just looking at her. And will probably pull out her notebook out of her handbag and will just scribble out a few things like, no, it wasn't that. And still having a question mark next to the ghost. thingy. And will probably start sketching whatever comes to her mind just to keep herself busy. And when she really gets hungry, she would probably grab like an apple or so and would munch on it.
Time passes, and then you hear Dottie gasp, and she starts to toss, and she says, they don't have hands, they've got claws, they're like raven's claws, and they've got the boy.
Alice will just carefully put her hand on Dottie's shoulder, just trying to wake her up.
She wakes with a start.
You are dreaming.
Miss Alice!
That was a nightmare.
Where is the boy? They were trying to kill him, I saw it.
We saved him. You are catching up on what happened. Don't worry, the boy is safe.
What do you mean? Where am I?
You're in hospital.
Why?
You were quite dangerously sick. And...
What?
You're better now, so don't worry. You just need rest. And it seems like this also gives you time to catch up on what happened in the last years.
What do you mean? Did you find Mr. Gregory?
Yes. He's fine with Pamela up in Canada. Being on vacation there.
Who's Pamela?
You will remember. Just give yourself time.
What's going on? And she sits up. She tries to sit up.
I will help her just a little bit, like putting the pillow like this. No sitting up, just a little bit. Let's give you a bit of water, dear. And I will put a bit of water in a glass again and give some water to her. And then I would just sit next to her on the bedside and just take her hand, just looking at her.
She takes the water. She drinks. And she puts down the glass and she says,
I'm sorry you have to go through all of this again in your mind.
She looks and she says, Madam, you look terrible.
Well, I'm just a bit tired, just as you are, but you know me. I'm stubborn, coffee, and food. I'm eating fruits, so don't worry.
Madam, this will not do. When did you have last dinner?
I just ate an apple. That's dinner. It's fine.
Madam, this will not... And she's trying to actually push back her blanket to get up.
She will just put her hand on Dottie's with a very stern face. This is not about fighting at the moment. You need to get better. I am fine. I just don't have much sleep that is easy to catch up with. Relax. Lay back. Last time you were awake, you thought you just started to work for me. You are catching up. And sadly, I have to say, all you dreamt is sadly reality. It happened. The boy is saved. Gregory is safe and sound in one piece. I'm not sure how much you will remember of the rest. If you don't remember, I will fill in the gaps later on.
Who's cooking for you? Have you found someone else?
There are restaurants out there, dear. I'm not looking for another cook. Are you insane? There is no one better than you.
I'm no use to you when I'm in this hospital.
You are used to me because you're still alive. It's not about use. You should know that by now. You are there. That's all I need.
What does your mother say?
She doesn't know and she doesn't care because it's none of her business. Your mother, indeed, was here in between and she will return tomorrow.
My mother knows I'm in hospital?
Your mother and father both have been here several times.
How long have I been in here?
Not so long. Today would be the 3rd, right?
The 4th.
4th, so 3 days. Yeah. 3 days then. Well, 3 days you are here.
4th in the morning, actually.
Yeah. So 3 days. I convinced your mother that she will take a day off tomorrow. I will pay the missing loan, and she will join you tomorrow to be here.
She looks at you and she says, if I find out that you have not slept or eaten properly in 3 days, I will have words.
I will wait for them when you are out of hospital.
And then she crumbles up because you can see that she's really tired herself out. She's really exerted herself. And she falls. It's almost like, when little kids suddenly have this nap attack.
Plonk.
Yeah, she has a nap attack.
Dottie will just cover her up again. We'll just pat her carefully, and then we'll just sit back in her chair and we'll take some water herself, and we'll just probably put her feet up on the edge of Dottie's bed now. She's getting more relaxed because she has more the feeling that Dottie is now coming back. And we'll just look at Dottie and we'll just wait. And in case, which she is tired, I don't think she will fight it this time. She will just take it. Well, if I'm falling asleep in the chair, it's happening. Mm-hmm. And we'll just wait for either sleeping or Dottie waking up or whatever happens next.
You do actually fall asleep, but it is like you said, it's a completely different mindset that you're in at the moment. So it is more, you are getting sleep and you are getting rest for sleep. You are woken again by a light touch on your shoulder. It's again the morning nurses, and they are asking you to give them a little bit of privacy while they are looking after the patient.
Sure. I will get breakfast, and we'll be back in like half an hour. And then Alice will just pet Dottie, and we'll be back later, dear. And we'll go outside for another cigarette.
Okay. What's your luck?
17.
At this stage. Okay, cool. Okay, so you have another cigarette. You do your breakfast thing. You go to a place where you can get breakfast. You get coffee. You get some toast, sandwich, whatever.
I will get 2 sandwiches just to maybe when I'm back show Dottie that I'm eating, just for that case, and grab a coffee and then slowly go back to the hospital. Not in a rush anymore, just walking.
You go inside and Dottie is awake.
Good.
And she's sitting, kind of like she's sitting up a little bit.
Good morning, dear.
Miss Alice.
You still remember me, that's good.
How can I not remember you?
Well, for a while you called me Fiona. One day I need to meet her.
You're nothing like my sister.
Well, I suspected so, but, well, I'm happy that you thought I was family. And Alice will just plonk on the chair next to her, just putting the bag with the sandwich to her side. I got breakfast.
You look tired.
I'm feeling quite better, to be honest. Well, I will be better in the next days. Just need a bit more sleep.
Are you looking after your knee? You got shot only, like, what was it, 3 months ago?
Well, a bit longer ago, but yes.
Longer than that.
But you are still catching up. That's good.
You should eat both sandwiches.
I just ate one. Give me a few minutes until I can eat a second one. You know I'm not a big breakfaster.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, Miss Alice.
I know, but technically a sandwich is 2 pieces of toast already. So here are another 2 pieces of toast. I promise I will eat them. I had my walk. I had a coffee. Just one. So far. Don't worry about me. Young lady, you are the one in hospital.
She looks around. I don't remember how I got here.
Well, you were unconscious. It would be quite spooky if you would remember how we brought you here.
I remember dreaming about a boy.
Yeah.
He died.
Yes. But long before we came there. But he's fine now and saved.
Have you found Mr. Gregory?
Yes. He's safe and sound in one piece. He's on vacation in Canada.
That's good. Canada.
Maybe by now he's back. I should check in. But we will see.
Who's Alex?
That is a very good question. Give me
It's
a
Alexandra, it's
second.
Penny's assistant.
Because it rang a bell, but I was like, I am stuck in who the hell. Well, that's my friend's assistant.
Why would I know her name? I've never met her.
Well, don't stress your memory too much. It will come to you. You made quite a progress in catching up. You will remember her.
She sent me something. She sent me a photograph of you. Of you and someone else.
Alex? Sandra?
Of you and another girl at school.
Must be my best friend from school. Her name starts with a P.
It feels like there is something missing in my brain.
Yeah. But the gaps are getting smaller every time you wake up. And
When can I get out of here?
It will take a bit. I know the feeling of wanting to get out of here quickly. I've been in your shoes, even though in different circumstances. Honestly, a day ago we weren't even sure if you would survive this. Give yourself, please, a few days and listen to the doctors.
Who's gonna cook for you?
The restaurants. Worst case, I will ask your mother if whatever she brings you, I can have a bit for myself.
My mother's coming?
She will try, if she can get off work. You scared the living hell out of us, dear.
I didn't mean to, I'm sorry.
Well, now I am sorry to you, because now I know how you felt when I was in hospital. It's quite a different feeling sitting on this side of the bed instead of lying there.
Yes.
Just give yourself time to remember whatever you remember, and the rest we will fill in.
At that moment, there's a brief knock on the door. The door opens and Mrs. Williams steps inside.
Well, that is my thing to get outside and catch up on some sleep.
You step outside.
I will grab the sandwich. No, probably I will leave the sandwich there, and will just, in case your mother is hungry.
Dottie notices and she says, Miss Alice, you forgot your breakfast.
She will go back. She will grab the sandwich. Thank you for reminding me. As I said, please listen to the doctors and take care. I will be back later. And I will just put my hand quickly and softly on the shoulder of Miss Williams. Just take your time, and I don't know how long you can stay. I will then be here whenever you have to go back.
I can stay until 6.
Okay. I will come by shortly before 6. And she's getting better. She's getting feisty. That is a good sign, isn't she? And just give her a smile. And we'll just wave to Dottie and we'll step outside.
The two of them sit. So basically, she sits in the chair that you were sitting in. The two of them hold hands and talk to each other. Basically, it's more the mother doing some talking.
Yeah.
You walk.
As long the mother's not loudly yelling at her daughter, I'm fine.
No yelling so far. You're
That will
walking
come later.
outside.
I will walk
Okay.
outside and
What's your
grab
luck? 18?
Still 17.
Still 17. Okay. Well, Miss Baker, what are you doing here? Do you turn around?
Yes.
It's Sergeant Updike. A happy new year, although this is of course a place that could be unhappy for you. I do hope that there is nothing wrong with anyone that you care about. Oh, you don't remember me, Sergeant Updike. We met. I shot you.
I know, and I remember you. It's kind of good to see you. What are you doing here?
It's Spence Murphy. He's one of my officers. He was on the beat in the Bronx, and he's now, and he steps really close to you. He's terminally ill. Liver failure. I'm just here to,
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
The doctors don't know what. I mean, of course, Murphy. He liked to drink. I mean, being Irish and all that, but in someone so young, they say that it is quite unusual. He's only 23.
Just out of the blue?
Well, he turned all yellow. And then we took him in, and hepatitis, and nothing doing.
Well, I hope that it somehow turns okay. I was inside because Dottie is in hospital.
He looks very concerned. Miss Williams? Was her name Williams?
Yes.
What's wrong with her?
Well, it seems like she is on the way to being better now, but she had quite a high fever and fell unconscious.
Was it the meningitis?
Yes.
Oh, yes, this has been going round.
Well,
bad thing.
Yeah, but she is awake now and slowly getting better.
Well, thank God. And he basically blesses himself.
Well, maybe. But, yeah. I hope work and everything is going well for you. No other weird problems?
Oh, lots of problems, none weird, I'm happy to say.
Is very good to say. And I am almost back to normal. Alice will be just like shaking her leg that is still
Make a
bit,
constitution check,
but she
-40 to
will
see how your ribs are responding to this.
She will be probably immediate. Oh, that was a 13.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah. He notices that the leg seems okay or okay-ish, but he also doesn't notice anything wrong with your ribs. So you managed to cover that up.
So training still a bit, but I will be back to normal. So that is the best.
Very good, very good. I mean, it still gives me nightmares.
I can imagine that it was something I don't want to ever live through again.
Absolutely. The next time we go into a haunted mansion, I will not bring my gun.
Yes, although honestly,
people turn their heads.
I think the goal is just that we will never have to enter a haunted mansion again. I think that's the best way to go.
Quite right, quite right. Well, then, I have to be off. I need to look at the lad and talk to him and his family, and we
have, well, a good start.
Give my regards to Miss Williams.
I will do so, and well, as I say, I hope maybe he's getting better, and have a good New Year. Happy New Year, sir. And Alice will turn around and will call for a cab.
You call for a cab, you find a cab, it takes you home. What do you do?
Probably sitting in the kitchen. I made myself another coffee because I can do coffee at least. Eating the sandwich. And probably just staring blankly into nothingness, just eating. And then I will just walk upstairs to my room and just facepalm into the bed and sleep.
Okay. You fall asleep. You don't get undressed. You just fall asleep in your clothes on your bed.
I think before I would fall asleep, I would at least put in the alarm clock
Mhm.
that it wakes me up around 4:30.
Yeah. The alarm rings. You basically you drop like a log. You just fall asleep. You can't even feel sleep stealing upon you. You just drop.
Yeah.
The alarm rings.
Just probably, it's not something she's hearing too often because usually she's woken by a very lovely voice. But she will just stretch. Will quite quickly get up. Will just wash and turn into or switch clothing into something new. Still comfy, but new. Would go downstairs, probably making another sandwich or whatever she can find. Sandwich is easy to do, so she's just practical. Just munching it, and then would already call that a cab will be there around half an hour before she needs to be at the hospital, that she can just go there.
You go there. You arrive. Go up to her room. You knock on the door.
Yeah.
You open the door, and Mrs. Williams is sitting next to Ms. Williams' bed. And she says, thank you. I really need to leave. And she says, Dottie, she says, well, no, actually she calls her Dorothy. Dorothy, I will be back as soon as I can. And Dottie looks at her, takes the glass she's holding and hurls it at her mother.
What?
And she hits her because her mother isn't standing too far away. She hits her in the face. Yeah, on a 10, she hits very well. So actually, there is blood trickling down her face.
What on earth, Dottie? Alice is really getting loud and angry now, and would just step inside and would walk over to Mrs. Williams.
Mrs. Williams is standing there, absolutely in shock.
In shock.
And she's staring at her daughter, and she's putting a hand to her head and withdraws the hand, and she sees the blood.
Yeah.
And of course now blood is trickling into her eye.
I think Alice would just grab... The cloth is probably still there.
Yeah,
she would just grab it, would just hand it to Mrs. Williams and be like, I have no idea what is getting into her. Let's patch you up. Come on. I would just lead her outside and would just glare at Dottie. How is Dottie looking?
Dottie looks like she's accomplished something.
And then Alice over the shoulder, just while she's walking out. We will have a talk, young lady. In a second. And then I will just lead Miss Williams outside. I will call for a nurse.
There are nurses. One of them comes. Oh my God! Did she fall? What's the matter? Oh, and she basically removes her hand very gently. She says, "Oh, I think this is going to need stitches. Do come down with me. I will to the nurse station. I will stitch this. It needs stitches."
I will just pat her shoulder. I will see what is gotten into her and make sure no glasses are near her. And we'll go back inside, just close the door quite firmly, and just walk towards Dottie. What on earth was that?
What's it to you? Who are you to tell me how to treat my mother?
Well, I know my friend Dottie, and she would never do that. Never. So the question is, who are you?
What are you talking about, Miss Alice?
Then explain to me why you would hurt your mother.
I was angry.
On what reason?
Do I need to have a reason?
Yes.
Well, I'm not talking to you.
Well, I am refreshed and had a lot of sleep. I am not going anywhere. And she would just stand next to the bed. You are behaving very weirdly. Please don't tell me we need to get a psychologist for you.
I don't care. Think what you will.
And please don't tell me you're a teenage Dottie now and forgot everything that happened.
What are you talking about? Teenage Dottie.
You're behaving
I'm
like...
26, going on 27.
Well, you're behaving like a 13-year-old teenager.
I may be your employee, Ms. Baker, but I do not think you have the right to talk to me like this.
After all we've been through, that you probably don't remember. The question is, what is the last thing that you remember?
The last thing I remember is New Year's Eve.
Which year?
1931.
So you remember what happened with Gregory?
Matthew. Yes, you found him in underneath a house in Simmons Strand. It was the farmstead.
So your memory is back.
What are you insinuating?
Well, you know where you are.
Yes, I'm in hospital.
You know you have been unconscious, almost dying.
So you say.
So the doctors say. I haven't slept in 3 days, thanks to you. Your mother hasn't slept as she looks in 3 days, thanks to you. She did not go to work because of you. Your father was here as well. The doctors were fighting for your life over days.
Well, congratulations, they succeeded, didn't they?
Alice will just give her... I don't know how do you call it in English? In German, it's an Ohrfeige. I'm not sure how it's
you
called.
Just slap her.
I would just slap her, just like, what on earth has gotten into you? You sound like my mother in the worst way ever.
What gives you the right to lay hands on me?
Exactly your reaction now. What is going on? Alice will sit down. She will pull the chair closer. We'll just sit down next to her. I am staying here. I need explanations. You are not behaving like Dottie, that I know. Don't get me wrong. I would do everything just again if you're back in hospital, unconscious. I will not sleep. I will stay by your side. The same as your mother did. I just don't get why you're behaving like this. It's like it's our fault that you've been here? It's certainly not your mother's fault that you're in the hospital.
She looks at you. She's still holding her face where you slapped her, and she basically lies back. And she has...
You will get a free pass to slap me back after I understand what is happening here.
she has a really stroppy look on her face, like this really
Teenage.
misunderstood teenage drama
Queen.
going on.
It feels like that.
Yeah. And she just basically ignores you.
Alice will just sit there and we'll just wait.
And after a while, Dottie falls asleep.
Alice will just sit there and we'll just watch her. Not sure if Miss Williams would peek in again.
No, it's still night. She's not going to come back.
So she...
What is your constitution, your normal constitution?
My normal constitution is 59.
Okay, so I rolled a 58, so you're fine. How is this whole situation how is it making you feel?
Alice is a mix between worried and angry.
Mm-hmm.
But she will just sit it out and wait. And she's in the end just as stubborn as Dottie. So she knows she will get answers. She will just wait.
After a while, I mean, easily 2 hours later, Dottie wakes up.
Alice will just be sitting there, just probably her hands on her, like I'm sitting now, and we'll just stare at her.
Miss Alice, what are you doing here?
Waiting for answers.
To what?
Your weird behavior a few hours ago.
My weird behavior a few hours ago? What happened? The last thing I remember is I thought my mother was here.
Yes, she was here.
She probably had to go home. She looks outside and she sees it's dark. She probably had to go home to look after my nieces and nephews.
Yes and no. You are missing a bit.
What are you talking about?
When I joined to basically switch places with your mother by your side, you out of nothing threw glass right into her face. You were angry like a weird mental teenager. You even had the puffiness of, I'm not talking to you, how are you behaving? And I'm sorry in case your cheek is hurting. I tried to slap you out of it, which did not work.
What do you mean I threw a glass at my mother?
You from out of nothing, you turned into a very angry Dottie that I've never seen in my life. And a very snappy, nose high Dottie, as if everyone is below you. We will have to see why this is happening.
Where is my mother?
Well, the nurses patched her up and she went back home because, as you rightly so said, there are a few other family members that need to be taken care of. I will talk to her.
Holy Mary. She starts crying.
Alice will take her hand, just patting it. I'm quite sure after all that has happened, your brain is still struggling to get everything in pieces where it should be.
I can't remember a thing.
Well, honestly, I'm happy that you remember us and that you remember where we are. That at least is a good thing. The rest we will figure out.
I would never raise a hand to my mother.
I know. That's why we will figure out what happened. You're still in hospital for good reason. You're not fit yet. And
Why can't I remember?
I'm quite sure there are explanations. The doctors will check anyhow and see what happens. They are surprised that you are talking and remembering. They were worrying quite far that this would not be the case, in case you would ever wake up. So don't be so hard on yourself.
She sits up really abruptly and she grabs both your hands. She says, I need to ask you to go to my mother and talk to her.
I will.
You have to promise.
I promise I will talk to her. And I also promise you, I'm quite sure she will be the same way as I am. Shocked, maybe initially a bit angry, but we will figure out why this happened. You've been through a lot, thanks to me. It might be your mind still struggling with all the weirdness that we faced. Also, Inspector Sergeant Updike? Sergeant Updike sends his regards and he hopes you get better soon. I met him outside.
It's a good thing you didn't bring him in. God knows what I would have thrown at him.
Well, he would probably see that as punishment for his behavior. So it's fine. Don't worry.
She is totally shocked. She is.
I know. But at least Alice is relaxed now again, because she thinks this is something now we can fix. It's not a permanent dotty state, which calms her down, although she will see and still have an eye on where is the next glass and wants to make sure that
there aren't any, there's just the carafe.
Oh great.
And a fruit bowl.
Well, the fruit bowl is maybe not as hurtful, the carafe might be hurtful. As I said, you are still in hospital. We will figure this out. The doctor said it will take time for your brain to unscramble everything.
She sinks back and she seems to shrink into the... And you notice she can't look at you.
Alice will pull out the watch in her pocket. How late is it?
Probably around 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. I promise you tomorrow morning I will A, get breakfast as the last days, and B, will talk to your mother. I need to talk to her anyhow to see how much money is the loan that she missed out today.
She accepts this. She doesn't react. She avoids your eyes completely.
Alice will be quite relentless and be like, finger to her face, just like, it was not you yourself. It must have been a reaction to something. We know you would never hurt, especially not your mother. Also because you're not insane, because you know she will pay it back.
She just lies there and then she falls asleep again.
Alice will just sit back in the chair and will wait for morning shift to arrive.
The morning shift does arrive, and with it, this time round, comes Dr. Simon McMahon, the neurologist.
I will just whisper to Dottie, I will get breakfast, see your mother, then I will be back. And then I will be, Doctor, could I just have a short talk with you, please?
Of course. I will be about 15 minutes with the patient, but if you would wait, or you could come by later.
I will wait, and then I will leave for a bit.
Mm-hmm. So 15 minutes later, true to his word, he steps outside. The patient is much improved. She has no temperature. Well, almost 37.7, and her reflexes are absolutely normal.
She
her speech
also
isn't slurred.
Remembers at least most things. She knows which year we are and what happened in the past. The
Very
only
good.
thing that she missed was a very weird behavior yesterday. Her mother was here the whole day. When I came back, her mother said basically goodbye because she had to go back to the family, and out of nothing, Miss Williams, or Dottie, as I would rather say, switched. She got angry and threw a glass at her mother. And she was just not like herself. She was still Dottie, but she was a very angry, weirdly, I am better than everyone else behaving person. And she did not feel sorry about throwing a glass at her mother, not at all, which none of us would ever expect of her to do. It's totally out of line for her. And now she's back to herself after some sleep. Is that something that would be a reason? Because she was out like she was.
He starts to speak. At that moment, you hear angry voices from the room, and you hear a very loud noise and breaking of glass or something.
Well, maybe you have the chance to see that kind of Dottie when you go inside.
He is very quick. He goes inside. You can hear Dottie screaming.
I will step in behind him with a bit of distance.
On the floor, you see a broken fruit bowl made of ceramic. One of the nurses is holding her down. There now, stop. It's no use fighting. Just stop. And she keeps screaming at the top of her lungs, get away from me, don't touch me. And he says, nurse, I'll be right back. And he runs out, he comes back with a syringe and he injects her.
Alice would have just stand by side, would have said anything, but she would have be in the room at least. Not being in a way, but also not leaving.
Ms. Williams, we did say that there might be some permanent damage.
Yeah.
One of the things that can happen when the brain gets damaged is that the personality of the person changes. Violent outbursts like this, maybe then also depression, are very common. They are treatable. Usually we prescribe a mixture of insulin and electroshock therapy. It will not heal her, but she will become manageable.
Well, we will need to see if that is really the way to go. Maybe there are other ways. In modern.
They are the most effective. I will not lie to you. It's amazing, and only by the grace of God, that she is alive.
I know.
To come through this and be unscathed would have been a miracle. We're short on miracles. We just work here.
I know.
I will also not lie to you. Patients that show this kind of behavior usually deteriorate. They become difficult to handle and also very unpleasant to be around for family members.
Well, as I said, I would be interested if you know any other specialists in this area that we can talk to and see what options there are. Because honestly, electroshock therapy is the point where I'm not willing to go unless it's really no other way.
Well, of course, you can speak to one of my colleagues. We have 2 psychiatrists here who specialize in the treatment of, well, those kinds of illnesses. It is the latest in treatment therapy that we can offer. We pride ourselves on staying ahead of the game.
As I said, I would like to hear other options. That might be...
Of course. Would you like me to put you in touch with one of my colleagues. You can speak to him today if you like.
That would be lovely. First,
Of course, I understand that there is also a financial burden to bear because, but you see, there would be either a sanatorium with treatment or a sanatorium without treatment. But I will also have to let you know that we cannot leave her here.
I know. And money is not the problem. The question is, how long are you able to keep her here?
I will have to consult with Dr. Tyrrell, since this is her ward, infectious diseases. I would say that she has overcome that disease. She has now entered into a different stage of illness. I will have to speak to her, and if she's going to expose her staff to a potential threat that Ms. Williams, your sister, is posing.
Yeah. Would it be okay if I will leave for 2-3 hours? I want to go back to the family and talk to them and inform them about the later state, and then I will come back. And then it would be nice if one of your colleagues would have time. At least I want to discuss options.
Of course, of course.
Thank you.
I will make an appointment for you. And he looks at his watch. Let's say at 11:30. That would give you 4 hours.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And also, you maybe should take care that the carafe with the water is not near her.
Yes. We will.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will speak to you later.
Alice will take a deep breath and will walk slowly outside. But the burden is back, although it's changed.
Make a sanity check.
Let's see how this goes. Not going well. That was an 85.
Okay, you lose 5 more. I leave it up to you how this actually manifests itself. What your state of mind is. Your emotional state, maybe even.
I think at the moment it's functioning. I'm honestly thinking the breakdown will come later. Okay. At the moment, there is point, get in the cab, go to the family, make sure mother is well, B knows what is happening, C also make sure she gets the missing loan.
Okay.
That would be her functioning mode, and afterwards is a good question. She would probably grab a cab to get back to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. So you go to her family's house?
Yeah.
You ring the bell?
Mm-hmm. And hope that it's still early enough that she's there. Or someone is there.
Yeah, someone is there, and they look a lot like Dottie, only older.
Fiona, possibly?
Yes, and you are?
Alice Baker.
Oh, Miss Baker, do step inside.
Thank you. Is your mother...
Mom!
Good.
And the Irish mammy steps outside. She's got stitches actually on this side of the face, and she says, "Oh, Miss Baker, do come through to the kitchen."
Thank you. I have some news from the hospital.
Looking at your face, the news isn't good. Is she unconscious again?
No, she's not unconscious. Don't worry about that. But, well, you kind of experienced the issue that we have yourself. Come on, let's go in. I don't know. Maybe would you have a cup of tea?
Fiona starts to make tea immediately. Yeah. And yeah, she hands out tea and milk and sugar, and and there are scones.
Well, after you left, she slept for a while. When she woke up, it was the daughter we know. She didn't even remember what happened. She remembered you were there, and then memory just stopped. She didn't remember that she hit you. She's really sorry. She never would do that. And we know she would never do that. this morning the Dottie you had to face with this came out again. She threw the fruit bowl at the poor nurse.
She did what? And Fiona puts down her cup. Ma'am, what's going on?
Well, the doctors warned us that with being out that long, the brain would take damage. It seems like it did. It's not unusual for patients having angry strokes or depressed strokes, he warned as well.
And so, what do we do now? I mean, how long is this going to go on for?
Well, the doctor said it might be not going away. They just have ways to make it less violent. I'm not giving up on her like that. I will have an appointment with a psychologist later today and see what he says.
You see how Fiona takes her mother's hand, and her mother clutches her hand, and you can see her knuckles go white. But her face is absolutely impassive.
I'm really sorry. I would love to have good news. But, well, good news is she is alive and awake, and she remembers us, which is a blessing, to be honest. The doctors say even miracle. We will figure something out.
Fiona looks at her mother and says, Mammy, who's going to pay for this?
I will. You don't have to worry about that.
She looks and she says, why would you do that?
As I said, she's part of the family. And I would not sit in front of you if she wouldn't be my assistant and my friend.
The thing you know, of course, you know lots of things, but one thing that you are aware of is you are talking to people who've probably left school at 12.
I know.
Yeah. So for them, all of this is...
As I said, I will not abandon her. And I will not give up on her. We will all have to work through this together. The main thing I want you to know that she did not do that because she hates you. She did do that because she's sick. That's the most important thing.
The two of them look at each other, and Fiona says, Mammy, I'll go to church and I'll light a couple of candles to the Holy Mother. Everything will be fine. And she actually gets up and leaves, and she puts on a coat and she leaves.
Which Alice is like, everything that will help is a good thing. Again,
her mother still looks at you impassively. She's got a stony face.
I know it's a lot to process. I will go back and, if you want, keep you up to date. What is happening and what options we have. It's in the end your daughter, but I can only offer to be part of it because I want to be.
I don't take this as being ungrateful. I don't know what her father will do when he sees this.
We will see what he says. As I said, important is that you know that your daughter, the daughter you raised to be a extremely well-behaved girl, would never do that.
She looks at you, and she is holding on to the last shred of sanity that she has. For her, this has been...
Well, Alice is just functioning mode at the moment. In case of questions. Well, Alice will just put down her card, address, phone number, everything you have. You can come by any time. And the question is, should I come back when I talk to the doctors to discuss matters, or should I just do what I think is best?
You will need to ensure that her father doesn't go to the hospital.
At least not when...
He's old-fashioned.
Okay. Well, it's easy enough to make sure that he will not be able to go inside.
I want my daughter back.
Then we are two that want her back.
And you can see that she is fighting down tears, and she's not going to cry in front of you, but she is.
I know. Alice will probably hold on to the cup of tea and looking quite similar to Miss Williams, trying to keep it together. And she will, well, should I come back when your husband is not there? Would that be easier?
Yes, I will explain to Joseph that I fell down the stairs. Fiona won't talk to him, it's fine. She will not tell him.
Okay. Do you want to come around to the hospital or to my place to talk in peace and quiet? What works the best for you?
Maybe not discuss this in front of strangers in a hospital.
Then, do you want to come by tomorrow at my place?
At what time?
I will be there from whenever you want to be there when it fits you.
After work, 7 o'clock.
Perfect.
In the evening.
Yes, that won't be a problem. Okay.
Okay. So
And
what do you
Alice would get up. She would just push over the card with the address, but she would put money on top of that because she is now not at the point wanting to ask how much money she does, and I'm quite sure she will put too much money on that because she has no idea what people earn, to be honest, and so, at least not in jobs like that. So she will just put the money on here for the missed day and cab rides, and let's find a way to get Dottie back. And I will just carefully pat her on the shoulder while I just walk past her and go outside. And don't worry, I find a way outside myself.
She hasn't moved. She's basically just held on to her tea. She hasn't drunk anything. She's just been sitting there. You leave. So you wanted to go back to see the doctor?
Yeah, she will probably walk to the church because I guess the church would be nearby where Dottie grew up. It's their parish. So she would go to the church and would do a similar thing she did before. Not that long, but she would go inside. She would burn some candles and she would just sit in the corner and would just carefully in her mind be like, it's me again. Thank you for bringing her back, but it would be nice to have her back completely. So your help is still needed. And then she would just be thank you and would then get up and leave the church and look for a cab to get to the hospital.
Okay, you go to the hospital. And basically when you go to the nurse downstairs at the kind of like the reception area, she tells you that you have an appointment at 11:30 with Dr. Michael Baxter. And he's a psychiatrist. And she tells you where he is, and you go there and you come to his office. It says Dr. Michael Baxter, MD.
Yep.
And it's almost 11:30. Do you knock on the door?
I will wait until it's time and then knock on the door.
You knock on the door. Come.
I will step inside. Dr. Baxter?
And before you sits a man with a long beard, a little bit unkempt. Like, sometimes psychiatrists actually look the part.
Yep.
This one does. And he says, oh, you are Miss Baker. Do sit down. My
you.
name is Dr. Baxter. And he puts out his hand and he says,
shake his hand.
I understand from my colleague that you have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Around treatment.
Yes.
How can I help you?
Did your colleague at least confide in the state of my friend that she's in?
Well, he did mention the symptoms, and he also gave me her story. Yes. Okay. So I'm aware that she had encephalitis or suspected encephalitis with quite severe side effects such as complete loss of reflexes and completely dilated and unresponsive eyes. And she had a very high fever for a very long time, and then she woke up after a critical fever, breaking in fever, and then she seems to have been showing memory loss intermittently, as well as unusual behavior.
Yes, quite aggressive behavior. Well, she remembers what happened in the past. At least she caught up. In between, she was missing bits, but now it seems like everything that happened before she came to hospital is back. But she can't remember her violent, strokes, however you want to call it. She's just missing. The moment she is herself, she doesn't remember. And is quite panicky. Understandably, I would be as well if I would be missing things and people are telling me I'm aggressive, although I'm usually not. The question is, what are the options to help her?
Well, I would like to pick up on something that you just said. You said when she is herself. What you must understand is that every behavior she has shown is herself. It's not like this is a different person. It's very important to know this. We all have violent sides, we all have caring sides. Usually we have natural inhibition and even societal inhibitions which prevent us from, or most of us hopefully, from becoming violent. That doesn't mean that we do not have that side in it. We just keep it in check.
Okay.
When the brain is affected like it is in your sister's case, I will be honest with you. We can treat behaviors like that, but I would lie if I said we understand the brain. We do not. The brain is probably the most uncharted part of the human body. Not that we don't know what it looks like, but we don't really know how it works. What we can see is that certain things we do to the body influence the way the person reacts and behaves. You may have heard of drugs.
Sure.
Opiates can change a person's behavior. So I have treated patients like this. As a matter of fact, we have a ward, not in this building, where we have several of these patients. Some have had a brain injury due to a fall. Others just develop it. That's mainly men, young men, 20, 21. We don't know why. We call it schizophrenia. And some people get it when their brain is affected by disease. I take the approach that however a patient presents themselves to me, I'm always dealing with the person. I'm not dealing with someone else. Their personality has fragmented, and bits and pieces show up at different times. assembling a personality, we have not yet achieved. We don't know if it is possible. What we can do is we can try and keep in check or subdue the less desirable sides of the person's personality. Some sides that we try to keep in check are definitely violent spells, but also deep sadness. We have had patients who have taken their own lives going through such spells.
The doctor mentioned something about also depression might show up.
Depression is a very dangerous illness. It is life-threatening. People die from it because they take their own lives. Even highly religious people are not safe from that. With regard to options, one of the most recent and effective methods is a combination of insulin and electroshock therapy. It calms, and again, please understand that I will not be able to explain to you why it works. We just know that it works. It basically flattens the effect. So the person becomes very even. I don't want to call it calm. I want to call it even. A side effect is, of course, that they will not really interact with you anymore. But they will not take their own lives, and they will not endanger others.
What other options are there?
We also have the possibility of administering medication. They would probably have to be taken lifelong.
Other option? Or other specialists I can talk to that you know are known about this, because there are a lot of psychologists out there that definitely have not a proper.
Well, I can only really attest to things that I have tried myself and either discarded because I felt they or couldn't prove that they worked or had any effect, or where the side effects much outweighed the benefits, and the ones where I say, yes, I have administered them and yes, they have worked. Medication is an option, which I have also used in the past, especially in cases where the newer therapies cannot be administered because of cost reasons. They are very expensive.
Well, money is not the point, but I want to know all options that are available, even new ones that are still in trial, before I make a decision.
There is only one more that I will talk about because I have first-hand knowledge of somebody who uses it. I don't believe it works, but I will let you know anyway. There is the possibility of speech therapy. It's very new. It's from Europe. The idea is that the patient finds, they call themselves psychoanalysts. It's the Vienna school. They believe that, unlike we, that body and mind are separate entities. I believe the two of them to be integrated. I believe that if I treat the body, the mind will follow. They believe that they treat the mind as its own entity, disregarding the body. They don't usually use medication, and they certainly do not use any other forms of physical therapy. this is an option that you might want to look into. I have given you my opinion, my professional opinion, that it's very dangerous, because I have not seen any patient that has improved. But I also have to admit that I have not been following many cases.
Would you have
The literature out of Vienna says it is successful.
Would you have any names of psychoanalysts that are in New York?
There is one practicing who is from the Vienna school.
Would you mind giving me his name?
No, of course not.
That would be very
I will
nice.
give you her name.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I am discarding your options as well, but for me, electroshock, drugs, everything sounds like the worst case scenario. If there are nicer ways to the body, it's worth a try.
Ms. Baker, I completely understand what you are saying. Her name is Dr. Marianne Kunz. She studied with a certain Dr. Sigmund Freud.
Then I will see if I can get an appointment with her to talk about the options.
Let me write down her number and address for you.
Thank you. That will be very helpful.
And he does, and he hands you a piece of paper in very neat handwriting, Dr. Marianne Kunz, and then an address and a phone number in New York City.
Well, thank you for your time and the explanations, and thank you for all the good work you are doing for the people that need the help.
Not at all, not at all. I'm very sorry about your sister.
Well, to be honest, I'm at least happy that she's alive, which is still kind of a miracle we did not even hope to have.
I know. And it is my deepest hope that you will get her back.
Thank you, and have a nice rest of the day. And Alice will take the name and the card, and we'll get up and we'll leave the room, and we'll walk upstairs to Dottie's room. Basically, she will try not to go to Dottie. She will try to see if Dr. Tyrell is around.
Yeah, Dr. Tyrell is in. Yes.
Then she would knock at the door.
The door is open, so you basically knock and you look inside.
Look inside.
Oh, Miss. She looks and she sees the door is open. She says, "Miss Williams, why don't you step inside and close the door behind you?"
Thank you. She will step inside, close the door, and without saying, will sit down on the chair.
She offers you a glass of water. So, Miss Baker.
Thank you. I just talked to Dr. Baxter about options.
Yeah, I heard.
The main question is, how long can she stay here, or when is the point where I will bring her home?
You want to bring her home?
Well, the question is, physically, does she need to be here because there's a risk that fever comes back? Is there any reason why a nurse needs to be around to nurture her? She doesn't have wounds. I'm not sure if there's anything left, or if she's over, at least with the infection and the fever.
I see. Well, her temperature is almost back to normal. Okay. I would say probably by tomorrow it will be the normal 36.5.
Good.
Physically, she is in very weak condition.
I know.
Of course, you saw that physically she is still able to do some damage.
Well, when people get angry, they suddenly have energy that no one thought about.
About taking her home, Miss Baker, I don't know how to say this, but it's, mentally speaking, she is very ill.
I understood that from Dr. Baxter. But I know you can't keep her here due to her mental illness.
No, we can't. I was thinking of sending her to a sanatorium where she will be looked after, where we also have the possibility of, if necessary, physically restrain her to ensure that she doesn't endanger herself or others.
I will try to bring her home. I will organize a nurse or at least a doctor that they come by regularly to check on her in regards
Ms.
to
Baker,
temperature and fever and food.
I hear what you are saying, and I understand the sentiment in which you're saying these words. Mental illness is not something that we understand very well. Unfortunately, my profession has decided a long time ago, that maybe we just look at the body. And this is filtered through also to wider society, in that we seem to disregard how dangerous and also how trying mental illness can be for the people who surround the patient. If you are going to take your sister home,
Yes.
Miss Williams, home, I would like to point out that this is going to be very difficult and hard on you.
That is clear, but it will honestly be easier than sending in her without trying directly to a sanatorium.
I understand that sentiment, and I would like to compliment you on it. But sometimes we just have to let go in order to safeguard ourselves. And I hope that when the time comes, you will be able to make that decision for your own sake.
I hope it doesn't come to that. Dr. Baxter gave me
God
some
willing.
options that I will do further without sanatorium.
If this is your wish, then my professional opinion is that you can take her home the day after tomorrow.
Okay. That gives me time to get a few things set up and organized.
I will discharge her. I will give you some medication that she can take, she should take. Those are supplements.
Okay.
Her body is weak.
Yeah, I know.
I would also put together a dietary plan for you with food that I would recommend. I understand that you would be able to afford more expensive types of food. Yes. I would recommend that she gets meat at least once a day. She needs to get her strength back. She has never been, as I understand, a big person. She's always been tiny.
Yes.
But the fever has really ravaged her body.
I see that.
We assume and estimate that she may have lost about 4 kilograms in the last 3 days. A lot of this is, of course, water that she has lost. But we're seeing already atrophying in the muscles. So when she is at home, it will be important that she moves.
Understood. So a mix of rest, not doing too much, but movement, that the muscles are in motion.
I will not lie to you. She will not have any sense of balance.
Well,
we will put her on an ambulance. We will drive her to your place.
Okay.
We will discharge her as a lying patient.
We will organize. I will talk to my doctor that he will support
Dr.
this.
Peterson. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Along the way. And that he checks in regularly just to make sure that everything is working fine.
I will get the papers ready.
Thank you.
10 o'clock in 2 days' time.
That sounds good. Just your opinion on, as you nicely stated, his body. If we make sure she's eating well, she's moving enough, but not too much. You think she can get back to, at least physically, to what she was before?
Yes,
Good.
I don't see anything in the way. It will take a while.
Well, I know a few words about taking a while to get better, so that is not a problem. That will be easy to deal with.
If at any point in time you want another professional opinion or you just need to talk to someone, you have my number.
Thank you. Yes.
And she puts out her hand and she offers it to you to
I
shake.
will shake her hand. Thank you for all the help.
And she holds onto it a little bit and she says, I think a lot of people could do with a friend like you. And she withdraws her hand.
Well, a lot of people could use a friend like the little one in there.
I wish you both the best.
Thank you. And for you and your patience as well, that everything is working out. I'll
You.
just have a quick look, if I may, how she is.
Of course.
Thank you.
She is, the last time I was in, she was conscious and she remembered me from the other day.
And I hope that was the non-angry version.
Yes.
Although I
She's
learned.
asking after you. She's
Good.
worried that you're not eating enough.
Well, that is a common thing that will never change.
And she gives you a genuine smile.
Yeah.
While she was talking to you, you could see that there was huge concern on her face.
Yeah.
But she's now really smiling at you.
Always my back. And as I said, thank you very much. And in 2 days, I know. And you have my address.
I do.
Good.
I will fill out the papers, and for in 2 days' time, at 10 o'clock, we will send out an ambulance to your address. It should arrive there at about 11, and 2 male nurses will put her there into bed. So it would be good if you had a bed prepared.
Yes, we will organize something. Don't worry about that.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. And Alice will get up and she will go over to Dottie's room, just knock on the door and peek her head inside.
Dottie looks up and she says, Miss Alice, it's you.
Well, who else should it be? Alice will step inside, close the door behind her, walk over to Dottie. Greetings from your mother.
From my mother. How's she doing?
She is holding together. How are you doing?
Everything is cold and grey.
Well, outside there is a little bit of sun.
I just don't know what to do.
You need to listen to the nurses and the doctors and work on getting better. It will take time. You told me the same thing. Be patient. It will get better. And surprisingly, it did. I could walk again. And now I am the one telling you, one step after the other, and it will get better every day.
I don't think it's going to get better.
That is what you think now. Tomorrow it will look differently. No hastily decisions. One step after the other. We will bring you back home in 2 days.
I feel like somebody has just put their fist into my chest and is squeezing my heart.
The doctors told me that that might be the case. They also told me it will go away again. It comes back again as well, but it will come and go.
It can't come back. I can't feel like this.
I'm looking to see a doctor that might help us. First step is we need to make sure that you get stronger again. You lost a lot of weight, so you need to eat. And I know it sounds horribly coming from me, that is always pickish at eating. And you need to make sure you drink enough, that you get your strength back. You know that if the body is not functioning, the mind has troubles as well.
I don't know if I want to go back to anything. I just want to lie here and never go anywhere ever again.
The good thing is, at the moment that's my decision, and you will have to be in our house, in your room.
If I can't look after you, there is no purpose to my life. If I can't do my work, I don't have a room.
She will take Dottie's hand. Sweetheart, by now you should understand that, yes, you look after me with food, and don't get me wrong, love it. It's the best food I ever had and will ever have. But you are also there for me, just being there for me. Listening to me and going through with me to all the insanities. And that is not your job. That is, you do that because you are you. And that's the same reason why I am here. We will get through this together.
I was at your school with you. I met your best friend. I can't compete with them. I hadn't even gone beyond second grade.
That's not a competition. You are perfect as you are. You are exactly the right hand and best friend that I need. And so far it has worked out through all weirdness. Honestly, Penny and Alexandra would have failed miserably in all the insanity that we had to face. Maybe Alexandra would have gotten through it as well. Penny, I highly doubt it, as much as I love her. Your quality is not cooking and cleaning the house. That is something you do marvelously, but that's not the important part. The important part is you. And we will figure it out that you feel better inside as well. But it will take time. You just need to hold on to me and follow me along the way. The same way I followed you in being patient and getting better and walking, staying alive.
At the moment, I would rather be dead.
I know. I can only ask you to not give up that easily for me, because I definitely need you by my side.
And
even if you're not cooking.
She closes her eyes as if to shut you out.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do?
Oh, go on talking. And I'm still holding her hand, so
And
I don't know how it feels like you feel. I've never been in that place. The only hope I can give you is we will find a way to make it better. Although it's horrible at the moment. You are not alone. You have a lot of people that love you and care for you. Including your mother. She's not angry. She's worried, the same way we all are. Including yourself, as it seems. Luckily so. There are doctors out there that will be able to help and heal.
This is, again, almost like a different Dottie because there is no reaction. There is no emotion now. There is just this dull... It's almost like there's lead. Somebody poured lead over her.
I will let you be if you want to. I will stick around if you want to. Your decision.
Okay, that's a hard one. 83. Even she just failed her sanity roll. She's got a sanity of 82.
Great.
She is completely unable to respond to you. So you have to make up your mind how you take this, but she is unable to respond. She is completely in this deeply depressed state. And in her case, obviously, depression shows itself as she's a non-entity now.
I will tuck her in, just letting her hand go, just tucking her in, just like probably. My guess is that she's not really fighting against this.
No.
She will just do whatever. And I will just be sitting here for a little bit with you. You don't have to do anything. I'm just egoistically not letting you go that easily.
How much time do you spend on this? Or how much time are you going to sit there for?
It will be around lunch now, right?
Yes, thereabouts. Yeah, because you had your appointment at 11:30, so yeah.
She will spend 2 hours just sitting there. Probably not saying much, just sitting there. And just probably in between pulling out the notebook and starting to scribble a few notes of to-do list and things to organize. And we'll just see if anything happens.
Something does happen, and you notice that her face changes and it becomes very relaxed, and you realize she's fallen asleep.
Good. I think with that she would wait a few more minutes.
She is deeply asleep.
Then she would, not making too much noise, rip out a page of her notebook, just write a note to Dottie. I am out to organize a few things. I will be back this evening. No,
okay.
Wait. This evening her mother will show.
At your place, yes. At 7:00.
Then the note will be, I will have to organize a few things today. I will be back tomorrow morning. Please take care and listen to the doctors. Take your meds, eat and drink. And then it will be love Alice beyond that. And she will just put it at her side table. And then she will step outside, will probably grab a nurse, just letting her know that she will leave for the rest of the day in case anything happens, that making sure they have the number where to call. And that she left a note for Dottie in case she wakes up and wonders where I am.
Okay, and then you go home?
Then I will go home and start making phone calls.
Okay, so who are you going to call?
First of all, Dr. How was his name? Peterson?
Yeah.
My doctor?
Your GP, yes, your family doctor, yeah.
Just seeing if he's in.
He is. Oh yes, Miss Baker, how are you doing? How is your companion?
Well, difficult. Well, she's awake.
But it means she's still alive.
Well, she's even awake and getting better.
That is good news.
Yes and no. The doctors warned us that her brain might take some damage.
I see.
Well, she's still weak, but Dr. Tyrell was quite clear on if we give her some medication, make sure she eats well, she should still move, not much, but still move. She will be better and back to her physical health as it should be. She can talk. At the moment, walking is problematic, but it should come back. So for that part, it would be the question, would it be possible for you to check in like at least once a day on her, because she will be back home not tomorrow but the day after. They will bring her
Yes,
here.
of course, I can fit in a house call. It would have to be in the evening time, though, after surgery.
That would be lovely. The other question is, would you know any good nursing service that would be good and reliable that I could hire for a
Yes,
while?
indeed. I could recommend Miss Brandage's nurse and midwifery services.
Okay, you need to type that down. I will never be able to write that down. I have no idea how to spell. If you could give me the contact data, that would be very lovely. Because it would be good to have someone around until she's back to her health and can move around freely.
Yeah. He gives you the phone number. It's also New York city number.
About the mental brain issues, she is having aggressive and quite depressed. I don't want to call it strokes, phases. She's
Well,
partly.
I've heard of this, yes. It can happen. We also see it in people who have fallen on their heads.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound funny.
No, I talked to a Dr. Baxter that is also working in the hospital, and he explained a few things. So, well, that's what we have to deal with as well. So, but well, first of all, the body needs to get better, and that is something we can do because it's working, and that is something that does not require hospital. That can be done here.
So you are planning on bringing Miss Williams back to your place?
Yes.
Indeed. And how will you be dealing with the phases?
Dr. Baxter gave me a name of a psychoanalyst resident in New York. I will see if she has the time to at least talk with Dottie or listen to the case and maybe wants to try if she can help.
I see. I see.
That
Yes.
is at least the first step, and then we will see what happens. Dr. Baxter made clear that sanatorium is also a quite valid option, but that would be plan B for me. So, yes, as I said, she will come home not tomorrow, but the day after. So if you could squeeze in the evening to check in, that would be really, really
When
lovely.
are you expecting her on the day after tomorrow?
10 o'clock in the morning, roundish, they will bring her here.
How about I am there at, let's say, 10:15 to take to see her when she first settles down, just to.
If you can squeeze it in, that would be.
I can do that,
wonderful.
and then I will come by that evening again to see how she has settled.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. Then I will see you in 2 days.
I will see you in 2 days, Miss Baker.
Thank you so
Have
much.
a lovely day.
Thank you. Then she will hang up. We'll probably go to the. Well, she's downstairs. It would be the salon, or however you want to call it. And she would grab a glass and some alcohol. Would fill up the glass, would take a drink, probably 2 or 3 sips, and then she would go back to the phone and would dial the number of the service, the number that he just gave us.
Miss Brandage's nursing and midwifery services.
Exactly, and would call there to see if they are able to quite short-handedly send someone over for a time.
It's what they specialize in.
With the warning that, yes, it's a girl that is quite weak, but she has some angry episodes, so I will pack extra for that, kind of like a danger extra bonus, but that they are aware of some trouble.
Well, let me see, Miss Baker, who I've got on file who is available at short notice. Considering what you've been telling me, I would say this is a job for... And then you hear somebody covering the mouthpiece and basically repeating the whole thing, then saying, "What do you think, Nurse Pfeiffer?" Nurse Pfeiffer, yes. Well, yeah, she served in the she served in the war. Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I mean, if she can handle people with 1,000-mile stares, she can basically take care of a little slip of a girl. Yes, I've got maybe just the right person for you, Miss Pfeiffer. Well, she's been with us for a long time. She's seen many things in her time.
Vandalizing, and I don't need a cat at home. I can do it all by myself.
I will send her over. When do you need her?
The question is if she could at least stop by tomorrow for a quick talk that I can show
Of course,
her
that's
around.
not a problem.
And
do you require her to live in, and do you have suitable accommodation, or will she go home in the evenings? There will be a surcharge.
in the beginning, it would be good, at least for the first 2 weeks, if she could stay here. I have a room, so everything would be prepared. That would be really wonderful.
Well, it will be 1 week's wages in advance,
That is
plus
not
our agency fee.
that is not a problem. Just send me the invoice and you will get the money.
And your address?
She will give the address and everything, and also leaving the phone number and name and everything. Nurse
Okay.
Pfeiffer. Oh God, I have a picture in mind. So poor Dottie. Although honestly, it's probably quite exactly what we need to work with a very stubborn Irish.
Yeah. And, okay, so who else do you want to call?
She will take another sip of the drink. Probably by now the glass is empty, and she will fill it up again. She will call the number that she got from Dr. Marianne Kunz.
You ring Dr. Marianne Kunz. It rings. And then somebody answers. It's a woman. Definitely not a German accent. And she says, Dr. Marianne Kunz, psychiatrist and psychoanalyst.
Baker, my name. I would be interested if Dr. Kunz would quite shorthandedly has an appointment for maybe a patient. Possibly. Hopefully.
What patient? Can you give me more details? Her book is quite full.
A close family member was out in hospital, almost dying to high fever. She is awake and up again since yesterday. But she has some, her body is getting better, so physically everything should be well in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, how long it takes for her to get back.
You hear scratching of somebody taking notes.
But she is now having quite excessive behavior that she usually would not have. She's usually a quite stubborn but friendly, calm person. And at the moment she has phases where she is aggressive against people that she would usually not be aggressive against. And she has phases where she basically can't move and doesn't want to live anymore. The doctor in the hospital warned us that this could happen, but they offer solutions that I am not too keen on trying.
I see. Well,
they offered the name of Dr. Kunz and that she might have a different way that is not electroshock and drugs.
I will see what I can do, but before I even make an appointment, I would like to inform you of the charges. The first consultation will last 1 hour and it will cost $50.
Fine.
Every successive consultation will cost $20 per hour.
Understood.
Payable in advance.
Also not a problem.
Good. Let me check. And she puts down the receiver. And then she comes back and she says, Dr. Kunz can see the patient in 2 days' time.
That would be lovely. The main question is, does she do house calls or do I need to bring her over? Because she's still quite weak.
She will do house calls.
That would be
There's
wonderful.
no surcharge.
Thank you very much. Alice will give through all her address, phone number, everything that is needed. We'll clarify how invoicing and everything goes. And then, thank you for your help and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day. And the doctor will see you in 2 days' time. And you make an appointment, I don't know, 2:00 in the afternoon or something. And yeah.
She will hang up. She will probably just drown the rest of the glass that she has there. She will refill it. She will make another call. That will be to her parents.
To her parents or?
Her mother in particular.
So Alice's mother?
Yeah.
Okay. Baker residence. It's Hopkins.
Alice here. Hopkins is mother.
Miss Alice.
In by any chance?
Of course. Milady is here, and he puts down the phone and Alice, dear, how are you doing? Happy New Year again. How are things?
Happy New Year. Things are improvable. I have a question. Would you know anyone who could step in for a while to run a household? To cook? Basically cook mainly and clean a little bit. Not to be here full time, but at least...
What's with that girl of yours? The other day she was sleeping during the day when you called me, and she wasn't able to take care of you. You said she was ill. Has she not improved? You might want to look for a replacement, darling.
She's in hospital, so please mind what you say.
Whatever for?
That is none of your business. She's sincerely sick. She will be back home
Alice,
soon.
How do you speak to your mother? Everything about your life is my business. You are my daughter.
But I am an adult woman, and I'm just asking you for help if you know someone, because I know you know a lot of good people. If you don't know someone, I will ask around elsewhere. You don't have to worry, I am managing on my own. I'm old enough to have my own life together.
On a 16 psychology roll, she passes, and Alice, of course I will help you.
Thank you.
Leave it with me. I will get back to you within the hour. Will it be live-in or just during the day? Give me some details. So it would be cleaning, cooking, laundry?
Yeah, laundry would be nice as well. Cleaning,
course,
cooking,
darling.
laundry, and just during the day peeking in. We would mainly need it for lunch and dinner.
Of course, darling.
Thank you.
I will return the call in about an hour, and I will have a name for you. And I will vouch for that person.
Thank you. I will be home.
And she hangs up.
She will hang up and she will have another glass and just drown it.
Constitution check
that
now.
Was
what is it that you're drinking?
It's whiskey. Blank, without anything.
Okay.
She needed a little bit of support to do this call because it was on the list and it was just moving down, and now she was at the point, I need to do this call. There's no point in just ignoring that. And then, so you said Constitution?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the afternoon.
Yes, you have not been sleeping. Oh, well, yes, you have slept, but you have not been eating.
It's a fail. She's drunk.
Okay, you are drunk. I mean, seriously, you are drunk.
Alice will stand, probably holding on to the table where the phone is on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll look at the bottle and the glass. And we'll just probably leave it there. Just standing next to the phone, and we'll walk towards the kitchen. Carefully.
Yes, it's difficult, and you actually have to hold on.
Well, luckily there are door frames and other things on furniture-wise that she can hold on to. She will set up a kettle for some strong black tea, and she will make herself a sandwich because that's what's the easiest to do. And then she will sit down at the kitchen table and will wait for the tea and will munch a sandwich, looking at the clock as it's moving forward.
Okay, and you drink your tea.
slowly trying to figure out that Dottie's mother is coming for dinner, basically, and she has nothing. She can make some scrambled
And
eggs and
she's drunk.
breakfast.
An hour later, almost to the minute, the phone rings.
I will get up and probably be a bit slow, but going there and be like, yes,
Alice, it's your mother.
mother.
I've got a name for you. Her name is Sarah Wilburn. She's a housemaid. She is freelancing, as it were. She specializes in house sitting. But of course, I vouch for her. I have contacted her and I've told her to, essentially be there at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You didn't give me a date and time, so I just chose for you.
That is the perfect timing. Thank you very much for your help. I hope you and father are doing well.
Your father and I are doing very well. I just hope that soon you will also be doing very well again, and I would love to hear from you.
I will give you a call. The only thing I can tell you that at least I am doing fine. I did not get too much sleep, but I'm catching up on that. So,
Darling, try to look after yourself as well during these trying times.
I will. That's honestly also one reason why someone stepping in might be good, because as we know, I'm not the best one taking care of eating regular meals. So it's good to have someone there that forces me to have something else than just breakfast.
It's a very sensible step. Be
Thank
well.
you. Have a nice rest of the evening.
She hangs up.
Alice looks at the bottle, but decides that she wants at least to be halfway okay-ish with Miss Williams showing up. So she will just go back to the kitchen. Probably there's still some of the sandwich. She's just picking at it. Because logically she knows eating and drinking something else will help to slowly get back out of the fizzy feeling. And she would just wait in the kitchen for it to be 7 o'clock, because she gave up on the idea to have something feasible to eat.
At 7 o'clock, on the dot, the doorbell rings. It's Dottie's mother.
Alice will walk over. Hopefully by now it's at least a bit easier to walk.
What's your constitution?
59.
97. No, not really.
No, oh god, it's getting worse. She will just open the door and Miss Williams, come in, please.
She steps inside. You take her through.
I will offer to take her coat. Just reaction.
Well, she actually doesn't. She says, "I can't stay long. I'm afraid I have to."
No
Joseph
problems.
is helpless when it comes to children.
I
Considering that he's got 5 of his own, that's a surprise.
Well, I heard quite a lot that men would be lost without us women taking care of everything. So
Well, isn't that right?
it kind of fits. Come in. Alice is in the middle and she's thinking about kitchen, dining room, salon. Do you want a cup of tea?
Yes, I'd love some.
Then just follow me. And Alice will go towards the kitchen. I'm not sure if Miss Williams will see that she is having a bit of something. The
37, yep.
The thing is, Alice has also still the cane she is using, which is a fun combination.
She does notice that you're kind of wobbly, but of course it's unclear as to why.
What?
Because, yeah, it could be that Dottie actually told her about you getting shot and stuff, so it could be that she's putting it down to the... if she thinks that you're drunk, she's not letting on.
That's the other hope. Alice is just in her mind hoping that she thinks it's the leg and the cane and everything is going fine. She will just add more water to the kettle and bring it back to boil and pull out a cup and tea. And then just pour in some tea for herself as well as Mrs. Williams and just sit down.
Yeah, she does.
Don't have dinner or anything prepared. I'm
Oh,
really sorry.
no. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Mad.
I understand that my daughter usually cooks for you.
Yes, and very perfectly amazing well for me. So I talked to the doctors. Body-wise, she will be back to normal. She will need some more rest, good food, a bit of movement, because the doctor said if she's just lying around not moving, it will be bad as well. So we will try a mix of good food, a bit of movement, not too much, that she can get her strength back, because, well, we've both seen she lost quite a bit of weight over the few days. So that is a good thing. The doctor says physically she will be back to normal after some time. About her untypical behavior, I talked to the doctor at the hospital, and they had some options that I'm not very keen on trying. You possibly heard about things like a sanatorium where they send people and don't treat them very well, to be honest. I'm not going that way. I don't want to go that way. I don't think that will help anyone. There is a doctor here in New York that might have a solution to help her without drugs and anything that will change the Dottie we know. And she might be able to help to, as I would say it, bring her back the way we know her. It will take time, but she will be here. She will be in this house. She will be in her room, or wherever she wants to be after she's fit enough to run around again. I will take care of everything that is related to money and payment, and you are always welcome to visit. The hospital will send her over, not tomorrow morning, but the morning after. My doctor will be here to double check on her at least once a day to make sure everything is fine. The moment we see also that her body is going back to problems, we will bring her back to hospital. But as I said, the doctor in the hospital thinks with food and rest she will be fine. There is no risk to send her here.
I don't know what to say. We cannot afford this, and I can't ask you to foot the bill for all of this.
The thing is, I have the money and I don't care that much about it, as you probably by now learned. Dottie is an important part of my life. She did a lot for me, and not cooking and cleaning. She is looking out for me that I am keeping my life together very well. And now I'm just taking a turn back.
I don't know what to say. You have no idea what this means.
I think it would be lovely in between when you have the chance to peek in, maybe with a nice homemade pie or something like that. She is comparing all her cooking to yours and always saying it's not even half as good as yours. Egoistically for me, I would love some very well Irish homemade food because it's really good.
She smiles. You are really putting a smile on her face.
And she will love it as well, because I organize someone who will make sure that we are all in here in the house fed and staying clean. But it will not be the food that you or she could do. And as I said, you are always welcome, all of your family, whoever wants to walk in, look by. I will also talk to Siobhan if she wants to peek in, at least from time to time.
Miss Baker, it's like a voice from heaven.
As I said, she's helping me, now I'm giving her something back.
I will include you in my prayers always. I can't begin to tell you what this means for me and the family.
Well, I would offer that you can call me Alice, because it still feels like family, but that is something you need to decide on your own.
She finishes her tea and she says, I don't mean to sound impolite, but I really must be going now.
I know you have a husband that is quite lost with the kids at home.
And she extends her hand to you and shakes it.
I will shake their hand as well. Let me call you a cab that you can get home quickly.
And interestingly enough, you can see that she's doing this Dottie thing where she's basically beginning to argue. Only where Dottie would argue, she doesn't. She subsides. She just...
I will grab just a phone, ring the normal number. At least these are things Alice can handle on her own. And we'll just ask for a cab to be at a place as quickly as possible. And then it will just take 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, she leaves. So now it's kind of like 8:30. What do you want to do? Anything else between now and the time that Dottie comes back? Except, of course, take Sarah Wilburn will show up tomorrow morning at 9.
Yeah, so this evening she would lock the door behind Mrs. Williams leaving. Then she would grab the bottle of whiskey, the glass, and she would probably... I think she would be turning on the fireplace in the salon and just sit on the couch there and with just a blanket over, and would drink too much. Because that's the nicest way to not think about stuff. And would probably fall asleep on the couch. And I could imagine that she's woken up by ringing at the doorbell at 9 o'clock in the morning by someone
the
that
doorbell
she
rings,
did not plan
you
on.
wake up, you feel like hell because obviously you have not taken care of your broken ribs. You have been lying on the couch in a very bad position. It's all terrible.
And a
you
headache.
Get up, you have a headache, and your head is about this wide. You are hungover.
Oh, she will just she will very slowly and carefully walk over to the main door and just like yell out, "I'm coming," hoping that no one rings the bell again, because it must have been quite loud and annoying.
No, the door isn't rung again.
And she will just open the door and just peek outside. Yes?
63.
Disapproving look.
A disapproving look of a lady who is in her late 50s. My name is Sarah Wilburn. I was sent by
my mother.
Mrs. Patricia Baker.
Yes.
I'm here to look after her daughter. Could you ask her daughter, Miss Alice Baker, to come to the door?
I will just open the door. Well, that's me. At the moment, I am the only one in this house. So thank you for coming by that spontaneously. My mother was quite...
32. She deals with it.
She's a professional.
Yes.
My mother spoke highliest of you, so I'm really thankful that you're stepping in, because I've
brought my references, and she takes out a bunch of paper from her handbag.
Alice will just hand it back to her directly. If my mother say you're the right one, I am not doubting that.
She inclines her head as if you had just stated the obvious, which you have, but she knows that she's super.
Tiny plus point, that's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, the one who usually keeps my household together is sick, so...
She looks around as if she expects to see cobwebs somewhere and, mice crawling around.
I would mainly need some help, especially for... Well, I'm not the best cook. I can do breakfast and sandwiches, but that's it. So it would be lovely to have someone
Breakfast
around.
and sandwiches is not considered cooking. It's not cooking unless you put in effort and you turn on the stove.
That's why I need help, obviously, and I am asking for your service. There will be someone else joining tomorrow that is sickly, most of the time in the beginning probably in bed, and she needs also proper food that we can bring her back to a full health. And
do you have a list of her dietary requirements?
The doctor will give it
Very good
with us as well.
That should not be a problem.
So
Where is the kitchen?
Yeah, I will show you around. And Alice will just grab her cane that was probably in the hallway somewhere, just hooked in, and will be follow me to the right would be the salon, and to the left here is then just follow me. Here's the kitchen.
Mm.
I'm just thinking about how the way it's straight ahead is the kitchen. I'm lying. Straight ahead is the kitchen. And well, here everything that you need. The garden with at least some herbs is out there. And
Well, Miss Baker, how about you let me do my job? I will make breakfast, and I will make sure that you eat it, because I'm sorry to say this, you look terrible.
well,
And you have been drinking, I can smell it. I will make you a full Irish breakfast, and no, I will not debate if you eat it or not.
well, thank you very much. To my excuse that I'm not looking too well, I have a broken rib that is still healing, and my best friend almost died in hospital. So I'm still catching up on everything that happened.
Yes,
Thank
but
you.
good food is the basis for everything.
That sounds just like her. Yes, it is, as I have to learn still, as it seems. Thank you for your help.
Why don't you sit down in the salon, and I will be with you shortly.
I will go upstairs quickly to freshen up and change clothing, and then I will be back down. The dining room is right next to the kitchen. I will just be
And she
there.
looks through the kitchen. So the way I envisage it is straight on is the kitchen. You go in there, then there's a door to the dining room,
Yeah.
and then a door through to the salon.
Exactly, and from the hallway you can also go directly
Yeah, and you
to
can
the
also
salon
go
too.
into, and yeah, that's how, yeah.
And Alice will very carefully go upstairs and will change, freshen some water in the face, just trying to get her senses together, and will then go back downstairs.
You see yourself in the mirror for the first time, really, in a couple of days. You have got a gaunt face because you have been also not eating. You have bags under your eyes, and you look worn out. You look worn out. You haven't been eating properly. You have lost weight. You can again, and yeah. So you freshen up. You change. You go downstairs.
Probably quickly saying to myself, "Well, this is not the look, darling, to go out and meet people." So, but then she will just wear something quite chic enough, because she's quite sure whatever is happening here, her mother will know now anyhow, but not overboard. So just enough that it looks decent, and she will go downstairs and just see.
You go downstairs. You smell coffee. You smell scrambled eggs. You smell sausages. You smell bacon rashers. You smell tomatoes, mushrooms, and of course baked beans. You step into the salon. You can see in the dining room somebody has set the table. Well, Sarah has set the table. And you see a full Irish breakfast with toast.
Alice will just sit down, will just call out, "Thank you very much, that looks lovely."
Don't mention it.
And then she will start, first of all, to drink the coffee. And then start eating. Slowly, but she knows there's no fighting against it. She will just eat as much as she feels she can eat. I'm sure she will not finish the plate, but it will be
No, it's a huge plate.
It will be more than she would usually have for breakfast. So she's really eating because she hasn't eaten properly a long time.
And there's also a carafe of water.
She will also drink water. And
so as you are rehydrating, it's actually helping. And of course, the salt content of the food actually helps as well. So you are...
Well, she knows hangover, so she knows she just has to get through it and deal with it. Well, the broken rib is still something she needs to be careful with.
You have 3 broken ribs.
No, it can't be 3. I know, it's 3.
It's 3.
And
it hurts like hell.
I think on that day, she will go upstairs and also double check. There is like a guest room that someone can crash on. So she will prepare that, just that it looks halfway decent. It does because it's not used much. And then she will go upstairs, also make sure that Dottie's room is looking fine. She was hesitant because Dottie has the room upstairs. If it would be good that Dottie has a room more downstairs. But I think Dottie would hate not being in her room. At the same time, this room is quite high up and has windows to go outside. So she's hesitant. But she will go with, we will try how it works out. And then she would, during the day, the only thing she would go shopping for a kitten.
A kitten? Okay. Yes. A kitten. Okay.
A small kitten.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah.
A red tiger, reddish hair, orange red tiger, and would bring it back home and would have it ready for Dottie.
Okay. Okay, so Nurse Pfeiffer is gonna show up the day after, so basically the next day, the day that she's coming in, she will be moving in. So you're preparing the room for her. Sarah Wilburn has basically prepared lunch and then she's also, once she has done dinner, she actually leaves.
That's exactly
for the
perfect.
evening, and then she comes back the next day for breakfast.
Although Alice would argue with her that it's not necessary that she needs to be there for breakfast, it would be fine if she's just there for dinner and
whatever you say, Miss.
That would be lovely. Thank you so much.
And a dinner for how many people and lunch for how many people?
For 3 people, because we have we have Dottie or Dorothy coming back that needs all the support we can get, and there will be a nurse at least for a while living here, Nurse Pfeiffer, that will need lunch and dinner obviously as well.
Okay,
Thank
so we go on to the next day. Nurse Pfeiffer shows up at 9. At 10 o'clock. Nurse Pfeiffer is also 50. She is tall, quite wiry. And she looks like the trenches of 1418 were carved into her face. She's got a very lined face. And she was probably with the expeditionary forces and actually stationed there. And she basically says, so I understand that we have a patient that has mood swings.
Yes.
How violent?
Well, she threw a glass at her mother's face. Violent.
Is the mother all right?
Well, some stitches and heartbroken, but yes.
I will tell you up front, I will not accept this. If she does this, I will have to restrain her. I hope you're all right with that.
I am fine with that. I hope she doesn't have much of this tricks. Also, if it happens, feel free to call me and we will try to calm her down.
What about medication?
Well, there will be some supplements that she has to take. The hospital will send it over. And later today, a psychoanalyst will come by to see her and see if she can help with the mood swings.
I see. The patient herself, would you have her measurements? Is she tall? Is she small? Is she light? Is she heavy?
She's smaller than me. Alice will show the heights. She is well, not as slim as I am. Well, underfed, as a lot of people say. But she's slim. But well,
she raises an eyebrow, looks at you, and nods.
Stubborn Irish girl is the best summary for her.
All right. It's
so
just a question of whether I will be able to lift her on my own, but I think this should be fine. She's less tall and less heavy than the average American soldier.
Definitely. The hospital, the 2 male nurses will bring her upstairs.
Very good.
So you don't have to worry about that at the beginning. The doctor said that, well, she needs good food. That's why Miss Wilburn is here to cook, not only for us as well, but also for Dorothy. And we need to make sure that she keeps moving. They said that the muscles, if not, will just
Atrophy,
not.
yes. Would you mind showing me the room that the patient will be in?
Yeah, sure. Follow me. Also, on the way, let me show you your room because we will pass it. And she, first of all, since we go first, her room.
She actually has a suitcase and a medical bag.
Yeah. So this is your. It's not big, but I hope it works for you.
Yes, it's fine.
Just if you need anything, just let me know, and we will organize it. And yeah, if you follow me one more upstairs, there is Dorothy's room, and we will go upstairs and I will show her Dorothy's room.
Okay, so describe the room for me. What is there anything on the walls? Are there pictures? Is there a mirror?
There's a mirror on the wall, definitely. Bed, not a single bed, a bit bigger, not a giant one, but a bit bigger, quite comfy. It has a bit of country vibes, I would suppose, with a nice view outside the window. If you remember, it has the nice round window up there. There is a nice comfy chair there, where also probably there's a blanket. And I could imagine there are a few family photos on the wall. Probably a cross over her bed.
Absolutely,
I'm
yes.
quite sure about that. And it's tidied because the little things that were lying around, because Dottie could not tidy that, Alice tidied it up. So
she looks at everything and she says, we will have to do something to the pictures. We will have to take the glass out of the frames. The pictures should stay so that she sees them, but the glass can be dangerous. I would also ask you to take down the mirror. I will help you with it, depending on the size. If it's a small one, then you could, because like you said, she has mood swings. Glass can be dangerous.
Understood.
I will wake with her and I will be with her for the first couple of days to see how she's adjusting, but at some point I will also need some sleep. We just need to be sure that the patient cannot self-harm.
Understood. Also, in between, I will be here as well, so you can have pauses in between. You don't have to worry about that.
What is your relationship? You are her employer. Is the relationship a good one?
It is a good one. We are more friends than being an employer.
Because if it was a strained relationship, then maybe your presence might be adversely affecting her recovery. But if it's a good one, then that's going to be a very good thing.
We've been through quite a bit, so I hope that will help.
I don't know if the doctor has told you, in these cases, alcohol can be very detrimental. I would ask you not to offer her anything to drink.
She is not a big drinker anyhow, so the only thing she likes to really drink is tea, and I think that is something we can give and will help her. Also, I had the weird idea to give her a kitten. I'm curious how that will turn out.
Does she like cats?
I think so.
Well then, we shall see.
Maybe taking care of something will help her at least through the bad times. We will see. Then let's get to it. Alice will walk over to the wall and will go to the picture frames, just taking out the glasses and putting the frame with the picture basically in, just seeing that it stays in there. And then she would put the glass in the room downstairs where she has her study room, because it's a bit off, and then she would also bring the mirror down there.
Okay, so basically 10 o'clock rolls around. The two male nurses bring in a stretcher on which basically she's strapped to it so that she doesn't fall off, but she's not restrained. You see her, she looks tired, and you have a feeling that she may have been given a sedative.
Yeah.
And there's a letter from the doctor, from Dr. Tyrrell, and it actually confirms that she's been given a mild sedative just to, even make it easier for the nurses to ferry her. She's taken to her room. Nurse Pfeiffer sits down with her. She does the usual, so basically checks her pulse. She's got a stethoscope. She checks her. She asks her to cough. She listens to her lungs, and then she has basically, when you left, she stayed in the room and she prepared it. So she's now not lying down. She's sitting up, and she's
Okay.
basically put stuff there. And then the nurse has also. You have never seen those. She must have brought them herself. She's got cups that are made of wood. And then she's basically filled them with water, and there's no carafe, nothing. And then she says, so now you lie down, and in about 2 hours we will have lunch, Miss Williams, and you can have lunch here in your room today, and maybe even dinner, and tomorrow as well. But then you and I will take a walk around your room. Nice and easy, but we will have to start moving. And it's also this, we will have to start, we will have lunch in your room.
Alice is standing in the background, but also would just add, I'm keeping you company for lunch and dinner, don't worry.
And then Miss Nurse Pfeiffer says, can I have a word with you outside?
Sure. She would just look at Dottie and will step outside with the nurse.
Well, she has had a sedative, so she will be a little bit drowsy. It's important that she sits up because we don't want water to form in the lungs. So
Yes.
when she is in bed and not sleeping, it is important that she sits up. So it would be good to get into the habit of also, when you are with her and I'm not there, to
Sitting her up.
shake up the. And then we will have to get her walking. I understand that the psychiatrist is going to make a house call today. Oh, by the way, of course, the doctor was there as well. The GP was there as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so at the appointed time, the bell
Also,
rings.
in between, Alice would have made sure that Miss Wilburn knows Miss Pfeiffer. Probably they get along very well.
Yes, they are quite similar in a way.
The thing is, Alice, why she said breakfast, she doesn't need to be there. Alice wants to do breakfast every morning. That will be her goal, because she can do breakfast, and she will extend her tries on what to add for breakfast, but that is her goal, that she will do breakfast every morning for everyone that is in the house. And, then we will wait for Dr. Kunz. Also, the kitten at the moment is probably downstairs in the salon or somewhere else. Alice will not bring her up until Dottie's settled, I would say.
On a 20, you miss your luck roll. A couple of things fall down and break. You have a kitten in a room with a mantelpiece on which there are picture frames.
She will live with it. She is honestly not worried at the moment about that.
But it's still small, so it wouldn't really...
She will learn that the important things are now, at least at the moment, farther up or even another room. And she also still... She didn't give a name to the kitten. That will be something for Dottie then as well. And then she will just wait, probably sitting in the salon, just playing with the kitten and waiting for the door.
Yeah. The kitten plays with you, then it takes power naps, as they do. And then the doorbell rings at, I think it was 2:00 in the afternoon. And Miss Wilburn opens the door, and she steps inside into the salon and says, Dr. Kunz is here to see you.
Thank you so much. Could you just lead her into the salon, please?
Absolutely. She leads her in, and Dr. Kunz steps inside. She is also, she is old. You would say 60. She's your mother's age. And she is neither big nor small, neither light nor heavy. She's kind of nondescript. It's almost weird, like she seems to be, she's almost grey in the face. It's almost like she doesn't really you don't know anything about psychoanalysis. Alice doesn't know anything. Okay, in that case, yeah, you just observe this.
She psychology is a bit where she is on the way. There she knows a bit, at least a tiny bit, what she grabbed here and there. But although she's generally good in reading people, that's usually.
But what you also notice is that she is dressed in grey. Grey skirt, white blouse, grey words,
like blazer, mantle, jacket,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
A grey blazer, grey shoes, grey stockings, grey coat. It's like she is the embodiment of grey.
And well, weird fashion statement, but okay.
Yeah,
Everyone has to do their own thing.
yeah. And she says, and she has a German accent, which I'm not even going to try and make sound okay. So we're just going to keep going. I understand that you have a patient that you want me to see, Miss Baker.
Yes, exactly. She is upstairs. Her name is Dorothy Williams, but although probably your assistant wrote that
Yes, she
already
did.
down. She
She's my
arrived.
student, not my assistant.
Oh, then, well, Dorothy arrived this morning from the hospital, so she's still settling in. But come on, follow me. And
Is there a chair in the room?
yes,
Very good.
and
She follows you. She has a very weird way of talking. She is not cordial at all. She is very abrupt. She is very direct. Well, she's German.
I think Alice can live with that, to be honest. That is something she can better deal with than other things, and she will walk along. We will probably meet latest upstairs than Nurse Pfeiffer, and I will just introduce them. And
They shake hands. How do you do, nurse? And she says, how do you do, doctor?
oh, very.
I want to be alone with my patient. It's going to take 60 minutes. I don't want to be disturbed.
If you need help, please let us know.
I won't be needing any help.
Do you want some tea or some water?
No, thank you.
Alice will bring the chair that's usually corner closer to the bed, that it's just sitting there.
I will place the chair myself, thank you.
Then Alice will be just going to Dottie, just holding Dottie's hand. Dottie, dear, this is Dr. Kunz. We talked about that she might be able to help a bit, right?
And Dottie looks at you and she nods.
And we will be right around the corner. If you need anything, yell. Okay?
She won't be needing anything. I'm here. Please step outside now. Close the door.
She will tuck in Dottie a little bit, because Alice is still the one that has the saying in this house. At least she's trying to be like that. Then thank you, Dr. Kunz. And she will close the door behind her. And would be probably just to Nurse Pfeiffer, maybe you want to have a tea down in the kitchen?
Yes, it's my understanding that the doctor doesn't want to be interrupted. I got the feeling.
I kind of got the feeling as well.
Okay, so the two of you, or do you stay behind? Do you listen at the door?
She will not listen at the door, but she will send a nurse downstairs because Miss Wilburn is still there, just to have basically a break, just enjoy yourself. Alice will sit on the steps downstairs, so on the floor where Dottie's room is, just at the edge, just sitting there on the stairs and just waiting patiently for either hearing yelling and something being thrown at inside, or just waiting for Dr. Kunz to come outside again.
60 minutes later, the door opens.
Alice will, a bit slowlier than usual, get up because broken ribs and everything is awful. And she will just look at Dr. Kunz. Would you have a few minutes to talk before you leave? Please?
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
Why are you sitting on the stairs?
I'm just worried. That's all.
I see. Where would you like to talk to me? Here on the stairs?
No. Downstairs in the salon, I think, is a good
Please
place.
lead the way.
Alice will show her the way downstairs. We'll just peek into the kitchen. She will send her to the salon. Just, I will be back in a second. I just want to
Where's the kitten?
In the salon.
Okay.
Whatever happens, we will see. Alice will go to the kitchen, just peek inside. Nurse Pfeiffer, the doctor is ready. If you would be able to just check on Dorothy, that would be wonderful. And then she will...
Okay, the nurse basically puts down the cup and goes upstairs. All right, yeah. Okay.
And Alice will then go over to the salon and will sit on the opposite side on it. That's a question. Did Mrs. Kuhn sit on one of the two chairs, or did she sit
No,
on
she
the
actually sat
couch?
squarely on the sofa in the middle.
Then
It's like a throne.
Then she will sit on the chair and will just sit down, probably trying to catch the kitten, not doing something it should not do.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Is she a possible patient for you? Is there something you can do for her?
She needs help. This is absolutely clear.
Yes, that's why you
Her
are
mind
here.
is broken.
Okay.
Do you want me to fix it?
Yes, if you think you can do it, please.
Of course I can do it. It's what I do.
What would that require?
Well, I will be coming to see her every other day for 60 minutes.
Okay.
You understand the charges?
Yes.
You're very good.
Student.
They're payable in advance.
I know. Directly to you? Should we send it over to a bank account?
I will give you my bank details.
Perfect.
And she pulls out a card with her name, address, and bank details.
Wonderful. Point at a special time? Just spontaneously? Just for my planning?
No, when would suit you? I've got a full diary. And she takes out a diary.
When would it suit you? I would plan around you. It would just be helpful if we have fixed dates.
Well, I like to have... I mean, it is important for the patient to know exactly what is happening when. So I would like to make a regular appointment. How about
perfect.
every other day at 3 o'clock?
That sounds perfect.
Very good.
Always without tea, or would you also be interested to have a cup
Thank
of
you,
tea?
no.
Okay. Anything else you want us to do while you're not here? Something special to do?
I would
or
appreciate
something?
it if you didn't upset the patient.
We are trying our best to just...
And please do not ask about the therapy. It is strictly confidential.
Okay.
I will see myself out.
Thank you.
And she gets up and basically just steps outside, opens the door from the salon to the hall, and then you hear the outside door open and close.
Alice will just stare after her, just like a bit like jaw drop. Still not sure if this was a good decision, to be honest. She will probably just have the kitten in her lap, just well, little one, I'm not sure if this was good. And I even forgot to ask if giving her kitten would be a good thing or a bad thing. Well, we will test it tomorrow, little one. And then she will probably play with the kitten for a few minutes. And then she will go upstairs to peek in with Dottie.
Mm-hmm. Nurse Pfeiffer sees you come and she gets up and she says, I will leave the two of you alone.
Thank you very much.
She closes the door very quietly from the outside. You notice something.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, the long side of the bed is against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the oven, the stove, and there's the window.
Mm-hmm.
The chair that you put next to the bed has been moved away from the bed, and its back has been turned towards the bed. So if she was sitting in there, she was facing away from Dottie.
Interesting. Alice will move the chair back in the corner where it belongs, and would just sit at the bedside, just at the corner of the mattress next to Dottie. How are you doing, dear?
I still feel tired.
I hope the doctor was not too horrible. Would it be okay for you if she comes back?
I don't know. Is it going to help?
At least that's the hope. We can give it a try.
I can't talk about it. You told me not to.
She told me not to ask, so I will not ask in detail. I just want to make sure that I didn't bring someone in the house that is torturing you.
She didn't torture me.
Good. Then we will have her come by every second day around 3 o'clock. Although, honestly, how I think she will be on point 3 o'clock.
Yes. And how are you doing?
Ribs are still hurting, but it's slowly getting better. And I think the cook my mom organized is not the worst. Not as good as you, but it's okayish to eat.
Maybe I can go back to cooking someday.
As soon as you're fit enough, the kitchen is free for you. I know you love cooking.
Will you sit with me for a while?
I will stay here as long as you like. And Alice will just make herself a bit comfy on the edge. Be probably like, come on. We will move you over a tiny, tiny bit, and she would just
she moves
as best as she can, just a little bit the legs.
It's not a problem because the bed is wide enough, so you can sit there and you can lean back.
Should I read you a story? Would you like that?
Yes, I would like that.
So, what kind of story do you want? We have love stories in the house, we have crimes, we have adventure stories in the house.
An adventure story.
Give me a second, I will be right back. And Alice will jump out of bed, probably then be like, bad idea. Be like, give me a second. Sort herself and will go downstairs in her study room and will grab one of an adventure book that she likes, and then she will go back upstairs and will sit with Dottie and will start reading. Probably until it's dinner time, I would suspect.
And Dottie actually manages to stay awake.
Good.
And you can see that she's taking it in because there are reactions. You also notice that she seems to be quite she seems to be composed. And then it's time for dinner, and you hear the bell, because the bell that she gave you so that you could ring for her, you gave to Miss Wilburn because you know that you will be upstairs, and it's easier because then she doesn't have to negotiate 2 flights of stairs, and you hear the bell and it's dinner time. And Miss Wilburn, will bring up the dinner.
Yeah, Alice will wait for it because Alice would have organized that. Miss Wilburn knows that Alice is sitting upstairs eating with Dottie.
Yeah. And the 2 of you have dinner. It's good. It's the dietary requirements. So there is meat, there is, and it's all also in a way that she can digest it easily. So and then, and Dottie does kind of start flagging after that, and you notice that she's getting really tired, and it's her first day back, and she then just goes to sleep.
We will clean up, we will let her go to sleep, and then I will also basically tell the nurse that, or talk to the nurse if she wants to do kind of like really night shift, if she thinks it's necessary, or if we can just peek in between and see how she does.
Tonight I would like to stay with the patient just in case, also to kind of get to know her habits, because once the sedative, it will have worn off by now. I just really need to see what her rhythm is, because sometimes patients wake up in the middle of the night and then they become quite active, and we need to find out about this.
Understood.
And then make sure that we can kind of work around it, because we need to get her into the habit of following the normal day and night shift, because hospitals can be quite disruptive because there is a change of shift in
Yeah.
the middle of the night, then there is a handover, and patients wake up during that time. So I want to ensure that she has as smooth a transition as is possible.
Good. If there's anything during the night, feel free to wake me up. I'm on the
Of
same.
course I will.
By now, she would know also where Alice's room is, and Alice would probably go downstairs. Would definitely grab the poor kitten that is quite on adventurous on their own, probably destroying the house. She would pour herself a drink and sit for a few minutes in the salon.
The kitten sniffs the whatever it is. Are you having whiskey?
Yeah, obviously, and it would be no, that's not
No, it
for you,
actually
little
does
one.
what they do. It takes a step back because they really don't like the smell
Perfect.
of alcohol.
Very
So
good.
it's kind of like it wrinkles up its nose and it actually takes a step back.
And but Alice would put the glass a bit away, but would offer some little like cuddles, and would play with the kitten a little bit. And then she would make sure everything is locked, like it should be, and then she would go upstairs to sleep, and she would take the kitten with her, and basically place it on the bed and be like, have fun, find a nice place, and then she would curl up in bed and try to get some sleep.
The kitten will also curl up. They still sleep very much when they're this young, and it'll start purring and it'll go to sleep.
Good.
And here we will leave it.
Oh boy.
Thank you very much for playing. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit.
I
back in Alice's
enjoyed
body.
it. Thank you for setting up a new story for the girls. Curious
And
where this will lead to.
We shall see. All
shall
will be
see.
revealed. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Whenever you're watching this, listening to this, have a lovely, nice morning, day, evening, night. And we will be back with you in 2 weeks' time with Alice Baker, Inside Insights, Chapter 2.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.